Hello, everybody. Welcome to Lost Initiative Star Wars Forgotten Legacy Week 4, preemptively titled Echoes of Permanence. How's everybody doing?
Well, very well.
And Pat's just here, and that's a miracle in and of itself. Hey, everybody. It's good to be back. Sorry we started a little bit late. Technical difficulties and all that tend to prevent us.
It was Wade's fault.
It is always Wade's fault.
It is always Wade's fault.
You look how much garbage he has to put on his person.
I mean, to be fair, you have to be a garbage person to, never mind.
Hey.
Wade, garbage person. He's amazing.
Wade, I love you in so many ways.
We all do, Wade.
I love you enough for this.
I'm scared because Zoom is saying it can't detect my mic. I just want to test. You guys can hear me, right?
Yes, we
Very
can
much
hear.
so, yeah.
Also, just pre-warning, we don't know how this is going to go with Pat's computer. We could make it 10 minutes. We could make it all 3.5 hours. We can make it somewhere in between.
On fire right now?
Yeah, if we see, chat, you have one responsibility, so we need you attentive this stream. If you see smoke behind Pat, you must let us know.
You must
Lost Initiative W.
You
Or
must
Lost in
get
it
a
F.
good
Lost in it F.
picture. Make sure you clip Alt X. Clip.
So if
It's
you
weird,
see
the only way
smoke,
to let us know is through the Patreon. I don't know why we set it up that way.
that's true. The only way we can know if there's smoke behind Pat,
It's
if
right
he's going
under-
to die.
It's right under Wade's Patreon lightsaber goal.
We actually had him surgically remove his ability to smell, so he could not tell the smoke was coming, so we can make money.
So you got the fog machine for behind you, right, Pat?
Right, we talked about it.
Yeah, remember
I
that?
actually have one in my closet down this hallway.
I thought it was just that old
God, we're
Xbox
almost
behind
there.
you.
We're almost at the tier 1.
If you just PM'd me that, like on a break, go get a fog machine.
How's our audio levels? Do we all sound pretty good too?
Oh yeah, everybody. So does everybody sound good to you?
I mean, I always sound sexy, so I don't know what you guys.
Yeah, do we all sound pretty level? No one's dominating, no one's too quiet.
I mean, I'm always dominating, but that's just because,
I just need to
Everything was
hug my
good.
little Roo panda and just.
Speaking of, while the people saying that we sound fine, a thanks and a shilling at the same time. I just want to say thank you. The Patreon support has been great. We're about halfway to our first goal, which allows us to pay our 2 players here for joining us and not volunteering their time as we get this show up and running.
You mean
so
we're
thank you all.
halfway to getting Wade a lightsaber?
It's true. We are Wait, what?
What?
He said it's true.
No,
We
wait
need
a
a
minute.
very clean clip.
Clipper!
You mean we're halfway to getting Wade a lightsaber? It's true. That's what we need.
Wait, we're
We
not
need to-
halfway to-
Stop it. It's true.
No, that's not true. That's
Do you say?
not true.
Do you say start, Scott?
If somebody
did.
decides,
Wade.
a dirty hobo, thank you for the tier 1 sub.
All right.
So no, big thank you for the support. We appreciate it greatly. I hope you guys have been enjoying the after shows that have been going up on Patreon for the $2 tier and above. We had some behind the scenes statistics for the ship that they've gotten up there right now, so go check that out. And
There was
Scott,
a
for the-
nice little strip tease from Wade in the last one. You guys make sure you guys
it's true.
grab the Patreon.
It's very true. And we've
What
got
is
some
happening?
characters and items being sent your way very shortly, as we've been getting some higher tier patrons creating some characters for you all to meet. So
And they're all very nice people.
they're all
There can't be
fantastic.
curses in Star Wars, right?
So
Sure.
Do
I
we?
think that's everything.
Is it time-
Oh my goodness, we're already hype training it. That's
Yay!
wild. Thank you very much.
Wait,
very much.
Mike, is it time for us to roll for Destiny?
Hands on.
Yeah,
Can
I
you
think it's time.
reset
let
it
me clear
and
the
force
pool.
it?
Yeah. I always forget, dude. It's a hard thing to remember.
I'm scared to press any buttons today.
All right. I know. I'm a little nervous. Okay, ready, set. Let's start with Pat.
Pat
Before
first.
anybody, Pat, we need to see if it works.
Double light
Okay,
side, baby. Okay, that
Fair
makes
enough.
sense. All
Fair
right.
enough, but it worked, so I'm happy about it.
Wade, do you
Next?
want to go next?
Me? Alright.
All right, Wade.
Boom!
He
wait,
double light sided.
You can't do that.
No, it was
That's
an
what I get for getting into cosplay
It
now
was-
early.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna bump it down. There we go.
and
All
then
right.
force update.
Oh yeah. Force update.
Why did it want twice?
Cool.
It's like you registered a double click or something.
Wait. Oh shit, Mike, can you flip that back? I used the light side
Oh.
by accident. I pressed the wrong button.
What the heck? Okay, hang on.
Just bloop back.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
or do that. Okay, ready?
Go.
Yeah.
All right, so you
This is
all
gonna
you
go
actually
horribly
have
for us tonight.
it's the inverse of what it was from the last session, actually. 3-1. Congrats. All right, are we ready to just jump in then? Is that everything? Have we covered it all?
Yeah, last thing I'm going to say is that, hey, for those that are over on Patreon, not to keep shilling for like 4 hours, but we do have kind of like a little, like a spell card or like a ship card over there that you guys could have grabbed so you can kind of see what state our ship is in. Like the base model would be in this year, if it was like in good condition this year with no updates. The condition it was when we found it and the current condition of the ship. So if you have like questions about it, you can kind of refer to that. Now, Mike, I would like to find out what happens when we go visit my home planet.
Well, last we left off, it was the ship was actually in orbit of this world, and to give you an idea of what Cathar looks like from space, out in this distance, where you can get a good encompassing view of it all, is a swirling marble of green and gray. To see vast areas of tree life and forest life, and then patched within and sometimes stretched within are these patches of desolateness, where there is no life there, only to be seen as, like I said, a stony gray from space. And it truly does look like a swirled marble as it slowly rotates in front of you. And as you came into orbit of this planet, we saw, as Varen had reached into his robes and pulled out what he believes to be a holocron of a sort, and to see just the faintest of red glows emanating from it. There were no words spoken because that's when we cut.
My character would not immediately want to, because usually I'm the one that's sitting in co-pilot seat. It's not like I'm going to sit there and scan the planet. I would probably immediately say where it is that we should kind of like, oh, let's go land over here or whatever, wherever it is seems instinctive. Unless, Mike, how long have I been gone? Unless like, things would have changed.
That's up to you. How long ago did you leave? That's up to you. That's not up to me.
A few years, because, you know.
Yeah.
Several.
Are we talking like 2 or 3? Are we talking
like 5?
5?
Maybe
Been
7.
Like 5 years.
Maybe 7.
Okay.
There's a couple bumps along the way.
Well, when you left, you were, you know, like everybody there, the rehabilitation of the planet has been happening now for a couple of centuries. However, it literally takes them millennia to completely repopulate and resettle the planet entirely. So they're still in what is considered the early stages. Small villages, small towns, etc., etc. So being away for 5 years could mean significant things from the place you came from, whether they've all moved on or expanded or resettled elsewhere. So you may have an idea as to where you could go. Can I get from? Do we make these rolls of lore about this planet specifically last session?
We did actually.
We
yeah,
did.
We did. Yeah. And I'm sorry. I'm just trying to imagine a whole planet full of Cathar that are like, we need to repopulate this planet. Just all the cats.
It's resettled because they were scattered.
Sure.
And they were because the Mandalorians enslaved who they didn't kill.
I imagine from the substratosphere you can still hear the whole.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus Christ. Do we have to do this? Do we have to, Scott? All right. Do you remember who rolled what?
The same tune as the purring.
Actually. Oh my God. I regret this. I regret all of this.
You let him fly here.
That's true. No, I don't.
You know, I don't think Wade and I would ever fault you if just for some reason the weapon systems went back online and were a lot more powerful than we even imagined.
Okay. For the history of this planet, because the reason is I want to know what specifics I should tell people, so I might just have you all re-roll because it was kind of towards the end of the session last time anyway, where I had some history rolls here. So, I would
passed because Crossa and I had that moment where I knew what happened on the planet.
Okay, so here's what you know then. If you tell me I told you you knew, here's the specifics of what you know back during the Mandalorian Wars a couple of centuries ago.
We can re-roll if you'd like. I just remember.
I knew something about Cathar, but I failed to know about Dathomir.
Yeah, okay, I think you rolled my. Okay, you know what? We're just gonna do complete re-rolls here because
we got good rolls.
I don't remember who rolled what and.
All right, everybody, we're gonna go on pause while Mike checks the VOD.
Are you really gonna make me pause and go check?
No, don't check the VOD. We got good information. Why? What do you need us to know?
Well, who knows what and how?
I'll scroll up
Here we
results.
Go. Botto passed.
Okay,
both
chat.
Dathomir and
Before
Cathar.
Scott, you know what? You want chat involvement, Scott? If you can get us to level 3 hype train, I'll make them re-roll.
We are level 3 hype chain.
No, we're about to cross to it, or level 4. We're about to cross to level 4.
Complete level 3.
Let us finish
No, I
level
don't want to
3.
re-roll. I roll well.
Reroll. How much do you love or hate this party? Is the question.
Crossa got a single success on both. Bono succeeded on both with 3 on Cathar, 1 on Dathomir. I failed Dathomir.
I just need the
got a single
Cathar ones. I need the
success on-
Cathar ones.
I had 3 successes, and that's
Cathar,
why.
we all succeeded. Scott had success advantage. I had a success with strain. Pat had 1 success. And 3 successes.
It's my own planet and part of my backstory.
Yeah,
I know
you
everything.
less than Pat apparently about it.
Well, the histories that of what actually occurred on your planet centuries ago may be muddled with folk tales and uncertainty. There, Scott. You do have a knowledge of.
You
being
also give me a
wiped out.
lower DC.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So.
But specifically for Pat is what I want. Is
Damn
knowledge-
it! Fine, what's the DC again?
Oh wow, we actually hit it. All right, everybody has to re-roll. Thank you. For
So
the
wait,
reminder,
if
everybody.
we're re-rolling,
Screw you, Fallon.
does my conversation with Crossa, is that still?
Yes, it's all
Canon?
canon. It's canon if Mike checks the VOD.
No, it's you still had a conversation. You had a very vague conversation anyway about like hinted at what was going on. That's still canon. All right,
It was vague to a point because it was only meant for Crossa's ears. It wasn't meant for Varen.
What's
As
the
it
DC? this
Cross.
time?
It is a lore check. A 2 difficulty for Pat and for Scott. 3 difficulty for Wade.
lore check, you said?
Lore.
Wait, why do I need a 4 on my own planet?
I said a 2
Oh, okay.
difficulty.
Okay, I was like, what?
And Scott needs the hardest of all. All of them.
That's right, I'm the only one that knows anything about my planet.
Yeah.
We have a mutiny
I'm not being
tonight.
all that loud, right?
You today?
Okay, how do you spell mutiny? I can never spell it.
M-U-T-I-N-Y.
I always had E. Mutiny!
Rude. Very, very rude. So okay. Thanks for the rerolls, everybody. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
That's how you
yeah,
do
we
it.
love it.
Crossa, however, you know what I told you prior, actually.
What?
You don't know, but this is specifically for something else that I was looking for details for. But one
Guys, the real reason why we started
difficulty-
late today was Mike's head is up his ass. You know, we had to go get the pliers and,
I mostly needed
Lots of
needed
loot.
Pat to re-roll, but because he rolled 3 successes, but we hit level 5. Oops. That's
What do
happens
you-
when crowd.
what
That's
do you
when
want?
Crowdfund. That's what happens when you crowdfund things.
just keep telling the story, Michael.
If we complete level 5, can Pat have his 3 successes
Yeah,
back?
there you go. If we hit level 5, Pat can get his old roll back.
I don't like these rules.
These
I
are
don't know
terrible
why I had
rolls.
to
These are
re-roll
terrible
It's
anyway.
not a mobile game. You pay to win.
rolls.
No, they paid to lose.
Okay. The only what I'm gonna say for Pat, the only tidbit of information you walk away with that is slightly new and nuanced is you know that those who dominate, or the name of those who, for the most part, conquered and dominated this planet were the Neo Crusaders,
And
the Mandalorian Neo Crusaders.
the Mandalorian clan, Neo Crusaders.
Not so much that.
Okay, I just
Mandalorians
know.
were different back then than they are
Okay.
a little bit now.
Okay.
So make sure you write that down.
Neo Crusaders.
You have a couple of options here.
Kill 'em. Kill 'em.
There are plenty of. What was that, Pat? I don't know what you said.
Nothing.
Okay.
I'm scared to type or roll anything, and
that's
you're just
true,
like
that's true.
re-roll everything. I'm just
Listen, we got to play the game still. We got to make you roll sometime.
We've rolled already.
I know it's true. It's true.
Hey, Mike, listen, I know you passed your death save, but, can you just roll it again for me?
Well, if the viewers paid
Just-
for it. What do you
Just
want?
roll it again for me.
You know
Just
what I mean?
okay.
If the viewers want to watch me suffer.
Listen, you guys want to
Mike-
use trump cards? It's Wednesday morning, okay?
one more time. They were the Mandalorians who overtook the planet the first time.
They're the ones that completely decimated and dominated Cathar during the Mandalorian Wars a couple centuries back, or what have you.
Ooh, up to 57%.
Oh shit! You might learn more.
We're buying Pat's victory.
All right, so
Chat, make me remember.
get me on the damn planet.
There's a couple places you can land. You have an option of going anywhere here. There's a lot of little settlements, but if you want to go back specifically to where you came from, like most Cathar, their villages are tree villages, settled mostly within the wilderness. Very small landing ports. If you want to land a ship now, you actually have to land a few miles out and then ride in on a speeder or some other mode of transportation, whether you pay for it or you bring your own. They're not truly built to have ships coming down and landing amongst the people there. Other than that, however, there are settlements out in the desolate lands as well that are Cathar who are retaking old Mandalorian bases, a few like really ancient ones that are retooling them into civilizations themselves.
I think, and I honestly think it'd be smart. Again, I'm not really going to speak to them too openly about this. It's going to be kind of like, oh, land over here.
Not even gonna talk to your old people. What's wrong with you?
Well, just it's because hey, it's my house. Take your shoes off. I'm gonna land the ship a bit away from a populace, like one of the smaller settled areas, because I think like an old Imperial ship with like, even though I know that my people are kind of dumb and uneducated, I think that might carry a bad taste. Yeah. So
it certainly has a stark design that is recognizable to any who have come across.
Yeah. So I think a bit away, Empire. And like you said, if we have to pay for transport or whatever we have to do, that's fine. So it'll be a lesser populated area.
Okay, so a smaller, out of the way place that wasn't where you came from and wasn't where you lived.
I'm also worried about somebody seeing Pat.
That's totally a fair concern.
I thought we agreed that I was going to be staying on the ship.
We did, but things go sideways.
Things can always go sideways.
You can't roll for me to get off the ship.
Hey, thank you so much. We completed level 4. I appreciate it very much.
That was 5. Does that mean I remember what happened to the planet? Give me more information.
You want like all the details?
He got his 3 successes.
I have 3 successes.
Who knew it was JP's lost innocence that would do it?
So
thank you, JP, for all the subs, dude.
The Neo Crusaders. I'll give you a little bit more detail on the Neo Crusaders themselves, specifically who they were, what they became, and then what happened afterward, and what they might be nowadays, which would be of more interest to Bato. However, the Neo Crusaders were an order of the Mandalorians, again, a larger order of hundreds of thousands. At the time, officially recognized by Mandalore the Ultimate. This was one of the Mandalores ruling over the Mandalorians at the time. He eventually rallied them and used them to instigate the Mandalorian Crusades and the Mandalorian Wars. And then that's what he used the Neo Crusaders to obliterate independent systems, much like Cathar, to test the metal against these creatures. And then whoever ended up surviving after they wiped the planet were forcibly turned into slaves and taken off world to work on other projects therein. Eventually, after Mandalorian the Ultimate died, Mandalore the Preserver ended up taking his place, restructuring them into no longer the Neo Crusaders, but called the New Order, and then eventually trying to create peace until Canderous Ordo came along, and then basically disbanded them, and they kind of became a smaller clan. There's your history lesson for 3 successes.
Do I get my success back?
No, you fail.
Okay.
Mandalore the Preserver, you said?
He followed after Mandalore the Ultimate, yes.
I'm just writing that on my note.
So Mandalore the Ultimate was the one that led the crusade against this planet.
He was the true first Mandalore, correct?
In a fashion, yes. So there you go. There's your history lesson as you come to this planet. I'm gonna need a piloting space check followed by a piloting planetary check for the pilot of 2 difficulty each, average difficulty.
JP's innocence. I did
No, 3 difficulty because the ship. No, the engines were repaired. My bad. 2
I
difficulty.
clicked to thank you, but I can't type.
Hold on, I have to roll to give you an assist on this one.
All right.
This is planetary, correct?
Correct. Space, then planetary.
So that gives you 1. I remove the difficulty by 1, I believe is how it works. I'm just gonna confirm that in 1 second.
Is this for
blue dice?
No, I think I just removed the difficulty by 1. 1 second.
I'm sorry, Mike. You said I'm doing a space piloting and then planetary.
Yeah, space piloting to bring it from space into orbit, into the planet's atmosphere, and then planetary after that.
Your difficulty is only 1, sir.
For both, or just for planetary?
Oh, sorry, that's planetary. I can do space to help you out as well if you'd like. I didn't realize that. And it's the same DC for both.
I believe so.
So I don't help you at all with. So it's going to be. Oh shit! I rolled planetary, not space. Sorry. Yeah, here we go. Let me roll this one. So you have a 0 difficulty for space, and you have only a 1 difficulty for planetary.
There you go.
All right, so I'll roll for space first.
Okay. You easily navigate through the atmosphere, little resistance, and it's a smooth trip as space falls behind you and is replaced with a bluish sky, a mint blue sky, and now planet against 1.
And then rolling a difficulty of 1
Yes,
with
sir.
planetary.
Yes, sir.
We're definitely gonna live.
No one's hearing music. I don't know if you're.
I just bumped it right now. That's why I asked.
Cool,
Yep.
cool. Very faintly, they say it's there. And as you careen through the clouds, and it all gives way, and you actually see now, where you enter is an area where both the desolate lands and the thick forest meets, and how starkly different they are. But for Cross's guidance and where he instructs you to land is further into the heavily forested area in a very small clearing of trees that was clearly cleared out quite a few years ago. And a few smattering of figures are seen walking around as your ship careens down and comes down to land gently among them. Only one other ship in this clearing, and if you're lucky, you might be able to fit 3 ships here, all told.
I saw one of the locals. Scott, where'd it go?
Yeah, you.
She's like, I'm 13. Stop picking me up so much.
Oh, she's such a cutie.
Ow.
And so, with the listed landing and a little bit of jank to it, as your ship, now in much better condition, but still could be a lot better, lands, the engines wind down, and out the window you can actually see Scott, 3 or 4 of your people, chatting with one another.
Okay.
As we land, I'll turn to Krasa and I'll just say, is Varen also in the cockpit with us?
You were all together on the bridge.
I'm asking Wade if he would.
Yeah, I'd be out there looking. I guess I suppose.
I probably wouldn't have looked outside, knowing, the history and stuff. So I would have looked across and kind of to Varen and just say, if you guys need me, I'll be in my quarters.
Okay. I just give him like, it's one of those. I give him a nod, but then as he like walks away, it's almost like one of those lingering watch afters. Like it's one of those. It's a mixed emotion because it's like a good stay there, but also like a ooh, because of our most recent interaction that we just had, almost like a ooh, I feel bad that he has to stay there.
Yeah.
But then also like a good stay there.
It's a sense of relief, but guilt.
I probably would have tapped Cross on the shoulder as I walked by. So
yeah.
I would just, if nobody else has anything, I probably would have retired to my.
It's not an uncommon feeling to feel both relief and guilt at the same time.
My people only murdered all of yours, so it's.
And enslave those who didn't die.
Yeah.
Cross,
The filer.
the mask I wear is, well, a replica, but do I need to remove it here?
My people are not very smart and certainly not very educated. Because of this, they will see that as a Mandalorian mask and not for what it is.
Very well. Give Wade a moment. You all go.
Wade gets a moment as he prepares himself, but you all sitting here. But while he's preparing himself, what is Cross's plan here? Why is what would he like to accomplish on this planet?
Spider-Man! I want to go and speak with the local elders, which probably would be in
With a
bigger
small
city.
gathering like this, you expect no more between 1 and 3 elders here.
Yeah. Oh, so would there be somebody of significance here, or would it be like, because I don't want to waste my time with some small time trying to make a name for themselves.
You know your people in your village, and you're likely to inherit it or be something similar on all villages. Is they almost worship their history. Their history is religious to them.
Mm-hmm.
So there's places in each village that there's a temple-like building that is both more of a history-keeping library on top of a place to pay your respects to those who lost their lives unceremoniously and unjustly.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So, because there's something like that so nearby, I guess this is actually a perfectly fine location. I also would want to stop by that place. But when I come out, probably one of the first things I would do when I, open the ship and a door opens up, I step out, is just stop and just smell the air. It's been, again, my character might not even remember. Somewhere between 5 and 7 years, because keeping track of Cathar's, annual cycle while on spaceships and other worlds and whatnot would be confusing. So somewhere between 5 and 7 years since I've been, I've been on the planet, and just kind of like taking in the rays of the sun, taking in the air, the fact that the planet is even more lush than it was beforehand, but also there's more voices nearby, and it's just different. So
It is. It's a different. And you arrive at Cathar right in the middle of Catharian summer. The weather itself and the air itself is thick and moist with humidity, and the sun beats down and feels great on your fur and on your skin. It's a remembrance, like you said, of home.
Mm-hmm. So when I come down, I imagine coming off the ship, one of the first things I would do after like taking that in, and I imagine that gives Varen time to come out as well, is I'd make my way over to one of the Cathar that's over there and just give them like a simple greeting. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a big RP thing, but just like to speak in Cathar for the first time, like again, it would be different. But I also understand that I am now the foreigner of the Cathar that I used to kind of look at landing on ships before, like when I was here growing up.
They simply greet you with a greetings, traveler.
Yeah. With that, it's again a bit of a chuckle, and then I would try to engage in conversation. It's almost that boomer kind of talk, like, "Oh, when I was here before," So.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like during that lighthearted conversation that we see this. It's not truly awkward, but there's just that clearly that 5-year gap is obvious in just your references and as you try to catch up. And that's when Varen steps off the ship and you can see him in the distance. Maybe. You wouldn't say for the first time being happy, but there's certainly a warm glow on Cross's face that was not apparent elsewhere on your travels over the past couple of months. There's a gentle purr.
Sorry.
Varen wouldn't really say anything. He would kind of walk over, taking in the sights, also being happy to be on solid ground again after a very long journey, but he would just approach and kind of let you lead the way, because this is your thing.
You learn, Scott, that this particular village is actually only 3 years old. This is a relatively new resettlement, which is why the landing port is actually within walking distance of this place. It was built with travelers coming in mind. You're only looking at about an hour's walk from where you are to the village itself, where you can grab a bite to eat, possibly sleep the night. There's a small place for beds, very small garments and small shops and stuff, nothing huge here. But they also let you know, too, if you wish to pay respects to where you came from, there's a small place there for gatherings of pieces of history.
We'll definitely go do that. But what I would say to Varen is there is about an hour walk from here to where it is that we are going. Honestly, we could probably get a speeder, but I think I would like to go for the walk, to feel the sun on my face.
Whatever you prefer here is fine. We've been on the ship for a long time. An hour's walk sounds more pleasant than getting on another ship. I just feel for Bado for having to stay cooped up.
You guys suck!
He won't have to roll any dice while he's up there, though, so it's probably better for him.
Yeah, I'm just relaxing, man.
He spends most of his life within armor and helmet. I think a little bit of time inside ship will not make him too claustrophobic.
Very well. Let's begin the walk then.
I honestly, during the walk, Mike, I really wouldn't talk at all. I'd probably be really quiet, just kind of like taking in nature and just reminiscing.
Hearing the grass crinkle beneath your paws and enjoying just the smell of natural air, the warm, thick natural air. Hearing the bugs and animals chirping out in the forest and such. Sorry, Wade?
Varen would speak up about halfway through the walk after a while. Unless you wanted to, something happens along the way before that point.
No, please.
It's been a long time since I've taken in sights like this, well, without wearing the mask. I've not truly thought about just existing and enjoying sights and smells. I suppose a month on a ship will do that to you. But this is unusual for me. I almost feel like I'm missing a part of me, but a part of me that's also a burden.
I think when he says something like that, I don't know like what would be nearby. But can you describe the area so I could give an appropriate response?
Like I said, yeah, it's a very simple, narrow walking path. If you were to walk shoulder to shoulder, you could hold like 3 wide.
Walking path through what? Sorry.
Through thick woods on both
Woods.
sides. It's
Oh,
very
okay,
thick
cool.
wood forest.
Cool.
That's the kind of place the Cathar live in, is highly,
Yep,
like
yep.
big tall trees and shit.
Yep.
Beyond that, there's no one really around. Like I said, three people wide, and quiet. Nobody ahead of you and nobody behind you. Nobody really lands here.
So so as you're kind of like walking through and you say something that I've lost, or you know, a part of me that seems to be missing or whatever, and I say, one of the best parts about going through walks in places like this is, well, you can lose many parts of yourself, perhaps even the whole thing. But eventually, you look to the stars, or you remember a scent, or something else, and you find your way back home. I think perhaps focus on the trail and just walk it. Enjoy it. There is no reason to search. You have a guide.
I will do my best to simply enjoy it, though it's difficult to stop the mind from wandering sometimes.
Let it wander, but perhaps do not focus too hard.
Aaron will take that to heart, and still kind of keeping vigilant like Force users typically do, he'll try to relax a little bit and actually just enjoy the sense and the sights without being through a visor.
And I just enjoy the moisture in the air, stopping me from having to hairball.
The distant ing of a village. Not too far from you.
It's almost like the Who's on Christmas morning. But he did hear a sound. Did it sound sad?
Good lord. And so the rest of your frickin' walk is enjoyable and filled with only the sounds of your own walking and the animal and wildlife surrounding you and the wind brushing through the trees and causing the branches to sway. Before eventually you do see the village before you. And a couple of Cathar guards walk up. Hands, you realize they are not armed with pistols or blasters of the sort. In fact, they each have just a sort of medium-length blade attached to each of their hips. And while their clothing isn't what you would consider modern in this era and more adept in natural color, shall we say, lots of bright greens and browns, it's simple attire. And then they approach and stop the two of you and simply say that before entering the village, all weapons must be handed over. We are a peaceful place. There's a box not too far, clearly made of just kind of refurbished wood and wood they've taken care of from the trees, that they plan to put your weapons in.
I mean, honestly, I would gladly hand them over. I mean, Cathar are never without weapons anyways. So, what do I have on me? I think it's just my heavy blaster.
You don't have much.
Yeah, just my heavy blaster.
Do you have your ceremonial knife on you?
I do, but I would also whoever seems to be, because are there people guarding this at all, or just a box?
It's these two were standing in front of the box guarding.
Yeah. So one of them, I would put the blaster in the box. No complaints, obviously, and then I would slowly present the dagger and say, "This is not for the box. This is for me to bring to the elders."
He actually simply closes his eyes and says, "All offerings are welcome."
Nods, but
Yep. He lets you keep it.
yep.
Okay.
Varen would follow suit and put his sword and blaster in the box.
all placed very haphazardly, kind of just piled on top of each other. There's no proper holds in there. It's clear that it's very rarely used, if ever. And then the two Cathar guards will stand back in place and allow you to walk through, walk past. And what eventually leads, the path leads into, is a small open kind of circular area with very tall trees and one very thick center tree that's surrounded by the rest. The path gives way to two walking paths that go up on your left and your right and circle around what is about 10 to 12 different buildings, all amongst the trees up top. And the center one large building is built around the trunk, and there is only one path directly ahead of you that leads up there. The path that's connected to the buildings all around are not connected to the center building. The center building, Scott, as you just simply looking at it, you could clearly see is what what is likely the temple / representation of library or history.
Okay. I mean, it's obviously where we would go, but I know that you were saying there are other paths that don't go directly there.
There's a two paths on your left and your right, and they go up into like what you would consider the village of like 12 buildings or so. A few places where people live, and then a few shops and the like for traders that eventually come through, but not many.
I would take the what's it called? It's kind of like scenic route, like the long way to get there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Varen might very well see, like you said, it might be very obvious to him which path I'm taking, but without even saying anything, I was just kind of like leading us that way, the slower path.
So you want to just take the path on your left and just walk the circle and kind of enjoy the sights and the buildings themselves. And like I said, it's kind of gorgeous when you elevate yourself like 20 or 30 feet, and then you have this outlook of the kind of opened up crop around you. And as you actually see it from this angle, you realize it's naturally occurring, that this tree in the center is most of its roots have prevented other trees from growing anywhere near it. So it's built this, it's naturally created this kind of open dome-like area. You can hear families giggling and laughing as you walk by the two buildings that have where most of the people live. And not too far from there, in between a couple of shops, is the building of the Elder, the one who runs the city. You could consider the mayor, perhaps, but it's much more of a spiritual kind of leading in these places. And then, other than that, just other places of craftsmanship and work, woodworking areas, and other living and necessity areas. But it's very, very basic. Other than that.
So again, without the simple like hellos, I'm not going to stop and have like conversation with these people.
People walk by and simply nod at you and very much keep to themselves.
Yeah, exactly. Like we're actually, even though we're in a strange spot in our history, we're a warrior people. So like, hey buddy, how you doing?
Exactly. They very much keep to themselves, and and something that you notice, Varen, is when they do pass by you and they give Krasa the nod, they just sometimes don't even look at you, and if they do, they don't necessarily nod at you. They just completely walk by you without paying you much heed.
So continue heading our way towards the temple, just taking in the sights, taking note.
Circle around and just feel like a part of you is home and return to you here.
Taking note of the shops, not necessarily walking in them or even really peeking in, but seeing if there might be anything of interest on the way back that might have like droid parts or ship parts or something like that we might need. But I imagine these people, again, aren't very good with ships or anything. So,
No.
But actually, that's a quick question. Do they have droids about, like worker droids lifting and moving things, protocol droids, anything like that around?
If you specifically start looking for droids in the area, you will actually notice that in one particular spot, there's like little worker droids working the woodsman craftsmanship. And then when you enter the study, there's a protocol droid that looks like it's been through hell, sorting. Looks like it's paying attention and sorting things off in a corner somewhere. But we're gonna get into the temple here.
But nothing really outside. There's like a few workers. Okay.
Just a couple, and that's it. That's it.
Cool.
So the temple itself is relatively small. It's wide and it's built around the circumference of this tree. So when you enter it, it's a single-story building that just walks in a circle. You can never truly see the whole building all at once, and it kind of gives it this weird sense of size that it doesn't rightly have. A protocol droid. There we go. I was gonna say a 3PO droid. I'm like, that's not what I'm looking for. A protocol droid is, as I said, standing in a corner and seems to be sorting books. There are glass cases lining some of the walls, most of them empty, but a few of them having pieces of, as you approach, Catharian history sat within, whether they be old pieces of carved wood, some of them being weapons, most of them being weapons, should I say, placed in there with ornate handles. Very, as you can see, the Catharian people are a very melee-focused warrior race. But again, most of it here is empty. And as you do the full circle, you only run into one other Cathar female, who once again gives you a simple nod, but unless you speak to her, ignores you. Her clothing, though, is much more extravagant than any of the other Cathar that you've seen here. She wears a long bright red robe with gold trimmings on the sides.
Prior to bumping into her, is there much time that we spend, like, because I know you said the place feels bigger than it really is.
True.
But is there much time that we spend if we like slowly walk amongst the artifacts looking at them?
If you spend your time, it'll probably take you like 5 to 10 minutes to do a full loop.
Perfect. So I want to spend time walking around this with Varen. And again, we weren't very chatty this whole time. I think I kind of want to open up a little bit for him and to him and kind of like explain some of the pieces to him. Can I make like a lore check to see how much of the stuff I would know?
Well, yeah, you please do. What is your base lore skill actually? Out of curiosity.
It's 2 yellow for 1 yellow for lore, 2 for education.
Gotcha.
But I imagine this is more of a lore.
Yeah, this is certainly much more of a lore thing.
Cool. So what's the
is it,
DC?
For you, I would still say it's a 2 for you. Simply because it's kind of obscure knowledge that you're picking at. It's not all easy, but it's not hard.
I feel like wasn't this dagger even a 3 or a 4 originally?
This dagger specifically is a 3 or a 4.
So if it's a 2 normally, and I succeed, would it be like varying degrees of what I know of the other stuff?
Yeah, basically, I mean, what you're gonna realize some things as you walk around and you look at the artifact.
I'm gonna use my ability Intense Focus and suffer 1 strain to upgrade my ability check.
Okay.
So
use a light side too if you. This is important to you.
it's important, I think, to us. So I'll definitely do that and give myself a double upgrade.
Yeah.
Can I use a light side point to figure out what you guys are doing?
So I'm gonna
Just psychically know.
and you said 2 purple, right?
Yes, sir.
Cool.
So you should be crushing this roll.
I was so hoping for a triumph. Unfortunately,
Technically, the
wild.
3 advantage counts as like a triumph or a crit, doesn't it?
yeah, like a mini
yes
like a
and
mini
no.
version. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'll let you explain what you like. And again, it doesn't have to be like a huge dump to me. It's more like me to channel to him.
No, yeah. What as you wander this place and you see that most of it's still unorganized. Beyond the glass display cases, there's really no true display of any of the other artifacts, whether they be books or scrolls or pieces of ceremonial armor or more modern weapons that were used during the Mandalorian Wars. And all of it has significance into your warrior past. What you're realizing is that none of the stuff in here is older than maybe the Mandalorian Wars themselves. That what you have in your possession outdates the stuff by a millennia at least.
Whoa, that's cool.
Correct. So they don't have their collection is wholly unimpressive to anybody that might, be any Cathar that might live here. It's what you would expect in a standard kind of like display library for a village that has one. But there's nothing special here.
I would explain some of these details to him, and then again, no real RP needed for that. But then when I've come to that realization as I kind of like finish our roundabout, and I stop and I just like, Varen, I think I've come to realize exactly what it is that I have here. And I'll like slowly draw, like the blade out. I gotta be careful, there's a cat on my lap. Yeah. Skittish and jump into the bleed everywhere.
Christ.
And twitch. No.
Oh God.
Be like, I think I just realized of what it is that I have here. This weapon, by far, outdates everything here by perhaps a millennia. Perhaps I'm exaggerating a little bit, but a considerable amount.
Is that because this area is so new, or because so much of your people's culture was lost?
Honestly, probably both. This is a relatively new area for collecting old artifacts. But if you think about it, these artifacts, it's not like many of them are brought in from other worlds, like this one. Most of them are actually found here, on the world.
All the more important to honor your people's history and return it. I respect the difficulty your people are going through in trying to recover their history. And if there's anything I can do to help you in this, I'm happy to help.
I'll actually take like not like in a creepy way, but like almost like a half step closer, like almost like a friendly, like trying to, you know, like a connection kind of closer, and make a connection kind of closer, and I'll be like, I don't think you understand. You have already helped considerably. A hard word to say. Considerably. There. That is better. With how it was that you helped me in previous times, where it was that you had brought me, and even the opportunity to come home. Thank you.
It wasn't a big ask. I suppose it was a harder one for Bato than it was for me. This planet, I felt something as we approached. And as with all things with the Force lately, I couldn't quite put my finger on it, but something. I felt something here. And for that one moment of connection, I think we all benefited from this trip.
Before I say anything else, Mike, I know about the history because like what we had talked about beforehand, right? What had happened and what stopped the slaughter of the Cathar.
I don't know if.
No, go ahead, Pat. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say I didn't know if he knew as in great detail as I did.
Because
I mean, you know the general story, but you might not know it was the Neo Crusaders led by Mandalorian.
No.
That
I know that.
You know the gist of the main story.
Correct, and
Yes.
the important components and whatnot.
Correct. Yes. You know the important like moving parts that all Cathar would be taught.
I would say, you know, before we leave here, we may have discovered where the last battle took place. Perhaps the people have discovered this, and perhaps we can visit it. But for now, we have task, and perhaps we find out where that is. Yes?
If we have time. This is important for you, first and foremost, so he'll just kind of gesture for you to kind of take the lead.
I'll turn, and because she's the only one that we'd seen, clearly she's dressed far better. You had described her, obviously, to us, the dummy PCs, but to my character, would I identify her as being a particular stature, or no?
And she's at the very least caretaker.
Is that like an education role?
Yeah, I'll roll something.
I mean, yeah, you can have it. You could definitely. Scott, for you, would be just against one purple.
All right. I'm educated.
Definitely caretaker in a small town like this, maybe even also elder.
Okay. So I'm going to come over. I'm going to walk up to her and give the appropriate greeting for a lesser person myself to an elder like her.
She gently closes her book and turns to you to give you her attention.
People are asking roll for hotness.
Oh, hey-o. Hey-o. Mike, that's all on you, baby.
I don't know what I'm doing. Let's not roll for hotness right now. Let's just continue.
So would that be like
No.
Or a kilf to be a Cathar? I'd like. Never mind.
No, just a furry, dude.
To roll for hotness, everybody, what's the rules? Do we roll with any purples, blacks, or reds in opposition? How many dice? I'm asking chat.
I think it'd be rolling for coolness, maybe.
I think what you would do is you would take what her base. Is it? There is no charisma.
Roll for hotness is important, Bad Wolf. I agree with you.
What did we roll for Trini? It was like 4 yellows and a green or something.
Yeah,
no, we have to put a red in there just in case there's like some serious, just in case.
It was like 4 yellows and a green against like 3 purples and a red or something.
Oh, who cares
what you should do is
one red
here's
and then
my
a bunch
pitch.
of others. Yeah.
You take whatever their base charm roll is, and then their difficulty is the exact opposite of whatever their pool is, and then whatever they roll.
What's their base charm roll, man?
I gotta look. I gotta give her one. This is why rolling for hotness is something we should do after.
Yes,
Sorry, DJ.
listen,
I needed a 20.
Before I meet Catharbra,
we've had enough Trinis and enough Barbaras. It's time to move on with our lives. It's 2020. It's a new decade.
Is it though, or is it the end of an old decade?
Trabarbra.
The beginning.
Oh, her charm's
Trinarba.
2000 was the new millennium. We didn't say, just the end of the 90s.
Barbrini?
Okay, she's rolling 1 yellow and 1 green versus 1 red and 1 purple.
You roll it, buddy.
Here we go. Got 1, not 2. All right.
Oof.
All right. She's not. Not only is she not all that
She's
hot,
very
got a couple
furry.
of-
Very
she's got
furry.
a couple of she's got a couple of patches of missing fur.
Well, so again, there are three races of three sub races of Cathar. Two of them look more human and less cat-like. She's just a mangy cat version.
Yeah, she's, a very
She's the
mangy
fourth
catty,
species.
She's a tabby. Nobody likes tabbies.
Aw.
Tabbies just look like they belong on the street. I'm sorry.
Oh my god. Anyway, she turns and pays attention to you.
So, anyways, you you know, give her whatever greeting is appropriate. You know.
thanks.
Meow.
I've got to get off this planet.
Now you know why I stayed on the ship.
Now you know why the Mandalorians wiped them out.
One came up and was like rubbing against their leg. That we're taking this whole species out. Their gun jammed from a hairball.
They just pick up a Cathar and just like, ow, 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 just fucking fire airballs like a machine gun.
Oh.
What it was is they actually tried to have a peaceful relationship with the Cathar. They actually genuinely tried. They tried to make plans with them, be friendly with them, but then they realized that making plans with the Cathars like hurting cats. And it just was one step too far, and
You lost me at hello.
sorry. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
No, she turns to pay attention to you.
I give her the appropriate greeting. Yeah,
Yeah,
whatever
she
it is.
greets you in return and simply asks how she can help.
I speak to her in Cathar, so I'm going to drop the accent.
Yep.
I say,
Do you speak Cathar, Wade?
No, I don't believe so.
This is all in cat meows.
So I just say to her, I give her like the appropriate, like, you know, hello, my lady, or whatever her title is, caretaker. My name is Crossa. I can't remember my last name. Crossa of the Nandor clan. And
She looks you up and down as you clearly wear attire far from any of the villages, at the very least that this one. And she sincerely asks how she can help a wandering kid.
she says, well, actually, I am here to provide aid to you, or at least the elders. Are you the elder of this small town?
I am.
In my travels on the stars beyond, in the great expanse, I've come across a prized possession that belongs with our people, and so I've traveled all the way back here to deliver it unto you. And I'm going to
Go ahead.
I'm going to slowly like pull out of the pack and present the weapon to her.
She, as you pull out of the pack, you don't even need to roll a perception check. The look on her face is one of genuine surprise. Varen, you see this as well. And her response as you remove it from its hold, to find artifacts of our people off planet is rare enough, considering what tragedies befell us. But to find this, and she actually reaches to take it from your hand.
I completely present it to her.
She loses herself for a good 15 seconds as she pulls it from your hands and like examines the etchings on the sides of the hilt and the blade itself, bringing her finger down the blade to the tip to feel if its sharpness is still there, clearly still. And she then looks to you almost nonchalantly and says, you know, those who use these, their names are lost to time.
It would be an honor if I could be the one to find this lost title. Oh, drop the accent. Damn. And speaking speaking in
it's
Cathar.
fine.
So it'd be an honor of mine if I could be the one to find this lost title.
Legend and only we don't understand the truths behind it, say that there were only a few hundred of them. The warriors that carried this blade. Our finest. How one of these ended off Cathar itself is a mystery.
Unfortunately, the world that I found this on is not exactly a world that you can find much other information to go along with the items that you procure. As a matter of fact, sometimes it's best not to inquire at all. But the means of procurement and the world that it came from are not important. What's important is that a piece of our history is returned to our people, so our people may once again become whole.
She has a genuine look of understanding and thanks as she weighs this in her hand. I don't know how you would even begin to understand or search for their names. They were, like I said, merely spoken of. This is as far as my knowledge, and granted my knowledge is limited. Maybe only... And she takes a moment to think, and she seems to be counting very openly. This is only the 11th that I'm aware of that we've been able to recover. The 11th of these blades of potentially only hundreds in the galaxy. This, to the right person, could turn this little village into a thriving city. It is worth quite a lot.
It is not. It isn't meant to be sold. It's meant to be kept and cherished, and maybe one day in the future, used in combat to defend our people. Should somebody come and try to do before what they've done in the past, to do again what they've done before. I'm not here for profits. I'm here for our people.
And so you would willingly and freely hand this to me?
Completely, openly, with a small request, but not one that's expected to be returned. My ship that I came on is heavily damaged and is very low on supplies. I understand that our world, the world that I grew up in, is not one that's properly set to repair such a damaged vessel. But supplies, fresh food and fruits, preserved meats, things that we could bring with us so that we can survive our journey beyond in the stars. So I could find more artifacts and bring those home as well.
We can provide nourishment. Our village deals with travelers rarely, but we are always stocked for when they arrive. But we can't handle many. We can give you about a short few days' worth of rations and foods to keep you fed. Hopefully to get you to the next system if that's what you're looking for.
If that's all that she's able to part with,
It seems that's all she's able to provide.
I nod. I don't argue or ask for him. Like, hey, come on, really, really. You tell me 5 McDonald's gift cards. That's it. So I just nod and appreciatively, and say, how goes the repairs? How goes the rebuilding of this town? The reclamation.
The town is still relatively. The town itself, the village, is still relatively new, no longer than 4 cycles at this point. The planet itself is beginning to thrive again. There are those we can reach within only a few days' travel now, instead of a few weeks. It's still going to be some time before our numbers reach those before the great tragedy, though.
It will be centuries, if not millennia, to reach such numbers, though I'm sure the young are putting their effort in.
Opening up our small settlements to spacefaring folk like yourself allow those who find themselves lost in space to return home should they choose. You always have that open invitation as well, being what you are.
I nod. I already knew that, but I nod, like, appreciative to the gesture of what she's saying.
Of course.
The other thing I say is, you know, one of the reasons why I was able to come across something such as this and identify what it was, one of the reasons why I've been able to find all the other bits of information that I've procured along the way, and I'll get to that in a second, Mike, is because I've spent time since I left the world, and a little bit of time on it, learning how it is to use what the other races call the HoloNet, and becoming familiar with the interfaces of their ships, droids, and other machines. I think it's important that our young have an opportunity to learn these things as well. While certainly it will have an impact on our culture and our society moving forward, it's not like that hasn't already been impacted to a great deed. And the benefits that can come from it, the relearning of our past.
I've only just met you, yet you speak to me like I've been your friend for decades. At my very heart. There are those traditionalists out there who don't see the same as you. Who prefer to keep their starports closed and not open their doors to those who travel to the stars and back, who wish to keep the things as they were before we lost it all. But the clock is inevitably pushed forward, and the tragedy opened our doors to much more than just death. I agree with you. I think it's important.
It's also important that we have those on the other side of the argument. The ultra-conservative traditional peoples help to keep us grounded in who we were, while the others that push to join with the other cultures move us forward in hopefully positive ways, allow us to join with these other cultures but not lose an idea of where we came from. We had a beautiful culture, and we can again.
You
Take the
speak
best
such
of us.
wise words. Do you plan on staying for a few nights? Perhaps we can share drink and speak. Share stories. Tell me of the great beyond.
That is an incredible invitation, and with how long I've been gone from my home world, I would love to take you up on it. Unfortunately, I am not alone. I come with companions, the one you see to my side, as well as another that's on the ship that I traveled here in. I do not believe they intend to stay on the world for very long. Perhaps one night.
You are offering me this blade, then, yes?
Openly.
Then, in order to ensure that you do return with stories and perhaps helping us set up a technology center for young ones in this village, I'm going to task you with watching this blade. I expect it returned to me, however. Perhaps it'll help you learn the names of those who used to wield it if you think that such a foolish task is able to be accomplished.
My character probably forgets the other implications in the moment and just is reveling in kind of like the honor of what it is that she's asking of him. And I'll think of the other stuff later on. And so
He simply says, "My name is Elder Chumixa."
Chimixa. I will kind of step forward and I will reach out and take the blade back from her. But it's one of those, like, as I take it from her, I don't know what would be a normal cultural thing, but almost like my hand kind of cups around hers as I take it, and it's like a sign of, like, you know, like, oh my God, thank you, you know.
Yeah, being entrusted with a very valuable item.
Yeah.
And she says, "As I said, the village itself is about 3 to 4 cycles old, approaching its 4th cycle. The village does not get a name until its 5th. If you return for the 5th cycle, whether you've learned more or not, perhaps you can partake in the ceremony of the naming."
I nod and say, thank you again for the honor, and it's something I will put all of my effort into making sure happens.
And I thank our elder spirits for taking you and ushering you to our village, almost serendipitously.
I'm going to, what did you say your name is? Elder...
Chumixa.
Chimixa. I'm then going to turn, like, I give like an appropriate, again, like a bow or whatever, and then almost, because I've ignored him the entire time, I then turn and say, Elder Chimixa, this here is a companion of mine. His name is Varen.
She simply says, "Hello, friend of Krasa."
Varen would try to mimic the bow that Krasa did and show respect and just say, "It is an honor."
She acknowledges your bow and stands as you rise. But she keeps words to herself and keeps quiet, doesn't try to engage you in any conversation, Varen.
I have put a little bit of effort into trying to educate my companions in the history of Cathar. Part of this history that is of interest to both them and myself is where it was that the last battle took place. Have we discovered where this is? The final stand between the Cathar and the Mandalorians and the other?
He'll perk up at the word "other."
She looks to you as though she's about to answer, looks to Varen, and simply looks to you again and gives you a disappointed shake of her head.
This is very unfortunate, but It is understood. Unfortunately, our world was attacked so horribly in so many places. It would be difficult to differentiate between one battlefield and the next. Then, one more request. Do you know where the closest site is of a major battle that took place? Something for them to feast their eyes on.
She thinks for a moment before she merely speaks a location, a small distance to the west in the desolate plains, where a failed Cathar uprising on a Mandalorian base occurred, and every single one of them was slaughtered in their escape.
I thank her for this and say, I do not remember this particular story. It would be a good place for us to go and do a little bit of discovery ourselves.
She nods. Perhaps when you return, we can speak more on what we've learned.
I'll nod, and then I'll turn to Varen and say, thank you for your patience. Perhaps we should go.
I should ask. You seem to have received a promotion of some kind.
A promotion? Sorry, wait, I don't know what you meant.
Well, you presented her with the blade, and as she returned it, I assumed that meant that you...
Okay, gotcha. Okay, yeah. Okay, now you're saying, sorry. And so your promotion of some kind. He goes, he looks at you, kind of like cocks his head for a moment because he also doesn't understand. Then when he comes to realize, he looks up. Oh, yes, this. It is a bit of an honor.
We're going to be very rich.
I will explain later.
He'll just nod at that.
And
As
then you see like my face as when I said, "Oh, I'll deal with the other implications later." I suddenly realize, "Oh shit, there's a Mando on the ship with this. God damn it!"
Yep. A bit of time spent in town just wandering, waiting for the supplies. You eventually see about 4 boxes of fresh meats and pemmican-style prepared foods put on a small hovering platform that will just drag behind you as you walk.
Okay.
Pemmican, for those who don't know, is just survival prepared meats that'll last weeks.
Okay, so we I will
You
take
make
the
your way back
supplies
to the
and
ship.
work. Yep.
The Cathar never entered the ship. They didn't go into yours, and Bato did not leave. I never got a secret message that said Bato left and murdered every Cathar in the area. So
That we know of.
Tempted.
that we
Was
know of.
tempted.
Very tempted.
I'm not a
Bato,
Vader. I
after-
don't just leave. I'll tell you guys.
We
After
would
hours on
pop
the
by
ship.
that. Sorry, we would pop by that those shops on the way back and see if there was
no droid.
Nothing-
no,
that's fine.
not
That's
in
fine.
a small area.
Yep. So
But
nothing of
evening time.
interest. And,
Nothing of interest.
And she did give us like food supplies, so on and so forth. But we
Yep.
did travel for about a month. So would there
Yep.
be any more supplies that we could pick up along the way, or know that we
You'd have
depleted
enough.
the
To,
village?
you basically would deplete them of what they're able to
Cool.
give you, but you don't hurt their personal stores.
Cool. All right. So then, all the way
Yeah.
back.
Okay. And you find Bato probably cleaning his blaster rifle, sitting at a table, feet kicked up, waiting. It's been about 7 or 8 hours, Bato. By the time you hear the landing pad go down and you hear the footsteps of your companions re-enter the ship.
I would just kind of give them kind of like a solemn nod as they enter the ship.
Okay. So do you just want to take off then, everybody? What's the plan?
So I would like to take off and fly over towards the area that she was describing.
Sure. Yeah.
Decoration.
I need a piloting planetary if you would like to fly this thing over there.
Yeah. Once again, he is the best for this. I will just co-pilot, and this also gives me time to kind of like more look at the scenery than
It's
anything
against
else.
It's against a 1 purple pat.
I'm gonna roll to see if I can give
Yep,
him.
you're gonna see if you get a system first.
There's a planetary, you said, yeah?
You roll against a negative purple, Pat.
You roll basically no purple.
So just roll a flat planetary.
Yep.
And can we find a place to actually land the vessel beyond actually like
Yeah.
sweeping
Well,
by?
yeah. Let me describe what you see as you take off, and the small village quickly disappears, becoming a speck behind you. You still fly over thick, verdant forest for a good hour or so before it starts to thin and taper away, and the trees give way to more desolate areas with trees that are still dying or in the midst of dying, mostly green with dying parts. And then eventually that it gives way to husks of trunks, completely stripped. Scott, you specifically know that these particular areas that are desolate are not desolate because of combat, though it very much looks like a bombed out area with like all these trees kind of depleted. Very specifically, these areas are desolate because of a very particular type of beetle that exists in these lands. And the beetle specifically is called a kiltic beetle, and they just eat and make complete vast areas of Cathar barren because of their feast. They look like giant horned grasshoppers.
I'm assuming
your
we got all of our
species-
weapons back, right?
Back in the day, oh yeah, you got
Nope.
your weapons back, yeah.
Okay, good.
Back in the day before the Mandalorian Wars, Cathar would often go hunting for them. They were something that they would hunt for. But these things are the reason these areas are desolate. But in the middle of these vast open areas of no life is where the Mandalorians set up shop. Because unlike the Cathar, the Mandalorians enjoyed being spacefaring, so getting supplies run into them in the middle of nowhere was easy. And it forced the Cathar to wander miles, hundreds of miles even, into dead area, forcing them to use supplies, so that when they finally got to the place to strike, they were already beaten down from weariness and lack of food. Or force them to carry so much food that it hurts those that they left behind. And that's where you go. Hundreds of miles into this desolate area in which seemingly the center of it all, this giant, abandoned, crumbling Mandalorian base sits. And out in the front, stretching for about 15 miles, is the large grave site that you presume is where all the Cathar were mowed down, the hundreds of them as they attempted to free themselves.
I kind of am gonna look both on the scanners and out the window and whatnot, just kind of in awe at this, because again, this is a site that I don't think the character would have seen before, and many
not
of
at
these
all.
sites, most Cathar don't get to have this kind of vantage because we
Only
don't really have
coming
ships.
out to these things is actually only a recent thing. As certain Cathar have started integrating technology into their lives, they've been able to make these trips out here, and that's why some of the bases are being reclaimed. This one does not seem to be.
So I don't know how your characters react, but I'm definitely going to be kind of like silently looking out the window for a bit at what we're seeing.
Yeah, Bato would be kind of the same.
Varen, it's distant. It's barely there, and it's barely a prickle in the back of your neck. But great tragedy happened here. You have no specifics. You just feel great pain. It's minor, muted, but it's there.
Baron would speak up and just say, I've seen battlefields where warriors have clashed, but this feels different. This was not a victory of battle. This feels hollow. This feels of pain.
My only response is, sometimes that is the Mandalorian way. And kind of like with that snapping me out of like my own little trance or whatever in the moments, I'm then gonna scan the surface, like the area, for people to see if there's any life forces or whatever down there before we even look for a spot to land.
Sure. Can you want to make me that computers check against what is it, 1 purple?
Yeah. I have a feeling like I might win that.
You might.
You say that.
Oh my god!
Perhaps it's because Mandalorian, you can't get a read on the inside of the building no matter how hard you try.
I'm so covered in
The
cat fur
computers,
right
the
now.
computer's on the fritz right now. You're
Alright.
trying.
Go away, kitty. Go away. I'm so
No,
covered in
no read.
cat fur. Go. Go. I know you're trying to make me cosplay like Wade, but
Quick
Can
question.
I, oh, good.
Oh, go ahead, Patrick. That's fine.
I was gonna say, with my We're looking inside of a building. Is that where
You're
Ross
above
was-
it right now.
We're
You're in your ship above
scanning.
it. You're zipping over it, scanning it. I mean, you can see the building out your window, and you would recognize it as Mandalorian back from the Mandalorian Wars. You wouldn't know specifics about what it was there for or what it did.
Okay.
So yeah, you try.
Is it still
cross the-
daytime? Nighttime?
Yeah, this is day. You're in its middle. Like it's like the sun is gonna set in like an hour.
Quick question. I hate to be that guy, but assuming we started a little late, do we want to take our one break before we do whatever's about to happen now? And then
Well,
come
we
back
can start
and-
that much later. So I was gonna take a break at 11 and then do one at 12 as well.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
So a couple more
fine.
minutes. Yeah. Go ahead,
That's fine.
Pat.
I
No,
like
that was-
eliminating breaks.
I was gonna say, would I be able to see anything with my heat vision? But if it's just a
Not
building that
this
we're looking
far.
for,
Not this far.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I
We're
didn't
too
know.
far.
I assumed it was nighttime that we were coming because they were gone for so long.
Yeah, you
and
get like
I-
sundown as the sun sets. They're longer days on this planet. This is not like Earth days.
Right. I
um,
assumed it was gonna be a little bit different. So that was.
Yep. So, but it's like you still got a little sunlight left. And
Yeah.
yeah, so Krasa, try. You flip a few switches. You have the computer run its programs, and it comes up indeterminate.
Yep. It's so funny because on Monday I can't fail a check no matter how hard it is and how unskilled I am, and in this one I just fail. So so the what's his name? I'll just say it would be nice to go down below and look about for a little while, but I do not think this is a good idea. We do not know if there are people or not down there. Scanners indicates no, but I don't know if. And then I kind of like look over at the Mandalorian, and then it's like,
I'm gonna look over at his PC. It's like it's not telling you what the scanners aren't reading anything.
no.
I'm gonna reach it. Can I do a check?
Once the check is done on this, the computer can't do it again.
I was gonna
Don't
like,
look over my
smack-
shoulder.
I wanted to smack it and be like, look, there's 3 of them down there.
No.
No.
So I'll look over at you and say, is this place here a place that you would like to investigate further? Or perhaps we've already stayed of welcome?
Otto would just reply, is it somewhere you would want to go and visit?
I think
It is a building of Mandalorian nature. There could be anything inside. There may be nothing.
I think it's more than just a building. It's like an expansive area, like around the building, and whatnot too. But I looked down at the scanner, and internally, my character is longing to go down there and just kind of like, because he's so dire to like know about information and whatnot. But at the same time, it is a kind of a painful location, and maybe not sully his first trip home in so long so badly. So even though he wants to, he looks back and says, "No, it is not very important."
Would you rather stay on the ship and have Varen and I go and investigate? I know this may be a hard kind of. He kind of looks around area for you.
It is all right. If we go to investigate, we will all go together. Otherwise, we should probably leave. There are other tasks to do. This whole trip was a detour, anyways.
Are you being like? Are you intentionally avoiding like giving us information right now?
The only thing I avoided saying was that
Because you sound like what you're saying sounds like there's something you're nervous about here. We don't have any idea what it is.
no, just internal struggle of being curious, but at the same time not
Knowing
not
what's
pressing
happened
it.
here,
Yeah.
just all.
You also know you still have something very valuable that people want on your ship.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just kind of like the internal struggle of I want to, but it's probably not a good idea. Not that I'm hiding anything from you. The only thing hidden from you guys right now is this. and even
Well, I
then,
know
you
you
don't,
still have that.
and you don't know the
very-
value of it.
Oh, that's
No.
true.
Otto would just kind of
Oh.
like turn his chair
Goodness.
and just look to Varen and say, "Plans? Thoughts?"
But we also, our characters don't know about the beetle thing either, right? That's something that we don't know about.
Yeah, that's something only Cathar would know of.
I would.
I still don't even know you
I
I
have
thought
the
dude,
knife.
that's what he
like,
was avoiding telling us. That's why I was asking.
No, I would probably describe that as we're leaving. Kind of like as we do like one more sweep by, but like you see this, because my character likes sharing the information that he knows. He doesn't usually keep things to himself unless it's super important, like this.
They're huge, by the way. Celtic beetles
Or
are
this.
monsters. They're like stories tall. They're gigantic.
That's crazy. So I would explain those if we're not landing, guys, just to kind of like share it up. If we're not landing, I would during the last sleep through just kind of like point out those details and explain them to you because there's no reason not to.
If Bono looks to me and is curious if I care to land, I would be. Unless I felt some reason to, I don't think I would. I already sensed that there was a tragedy here, and this wasn't the area where Krasa mentioned there being the final battle, and the one. So.
And Wade doesn't have Seek, so he can't planetary search for where the other battle is.
Not yet, anyway.
Would I be able to roll like warfare or anything to know if there would have been like any weapons or anything on the battlefield, or if this building would?
It's a Mandalorian building in a war. This thing had weapons. This thing had defenses. You don't even have to make a roll.
Okay, so
it had built-in like blaster turrets and stuff.
I would probably just, as you guys are like, I don't know if we should go. Bato would just make just a closing remark. It is a war building. They probably have guns, weapons, possibly something to fix our weaponry here on the ship. Kind of just has like a shrug kind of thing, like, you guys are sure you don't want to stop.
Only one race here, however. The Mandalorians weren't the ones to suffer the tragedy here. They didn't have to leave in a hurry. They probably didn't leave anything too great behind. But there may be something. There may be something of historical value or value to you. He'll look at Bato. Either way, I don't mind if we stay. I don't mind if we go.
I think you might be a little bit mistaken. The Mandalorians did leave in a bit of a hurry. They hurried off to their next battle, their next world, their next conquest.
Yes.
Most important things Mandalorians keep. We'll kind of like slap on his gun. Our weapons. We had fallen Mandos here. They would have left the weapon. There could even be, and I would kind of point to Krasa, Catharian weapons. There's a battlefield.
Why haven't the Cathar utilized this facility?
I shake my head and say, your experience with Cathar has been a bit limited, just like it is for most people in the greater galaxy. The idea that there is a Cathar that, for one, is willing to go on a spaceship, and for two, understands things like electronics or computer systems is very unusual. We are not that kind of people. I am a bit different than the rest. Most can't even really figure out how it is that you fly a ship. Speeders, sure, any toddler can figure out a speeder, but actual flying of a legitimate vessel? Mm-mm. So this is a little out of the way. This is kind of far across desolate land, made more so by the world-ending warfare that happened.
Then Bato may be correct. There may be some history of your people left behind, but it's up to you if you care to pursue that.
There. I think we can land there.
And on that, we'll take a break. As the ship lands and exploration is going to be had.
Yay! All
We know how to
right.
get Krasa to do virtually anything we want now.
There might be stuff there. All right. See you guys soon. Bye.
welcome back, everybody, from the break. There's really not much for me to say, as the ship kind of gently glides itself down from the sky, and you find a nice clearing not too far from this large building that was clearly, like I said, of Mandalorian descent during the wars. What its purpose was is not clear from the outside. Only that towards the front, that vast swath of land saw the slaughter of hundreds of slaves as they attempted their escape.
Also, Anubis, it's a very unfortunate that you had that typo because Revan could have made an appearance, but you said Raven. So we tried to get that
That's
so Raven from the
so
Disney Channel,
Raven.
but she was busy tonight. So
It was.
yeah, your 20 almost got Raven on here, but we couldn't quite get Raven there at the end.
We tried. We did try.
Yeah.
When
I don't get
when the
that
ship
reference.
actually settles, and it's a Disney show, when the ship eventually settles and the engines whir down and the silence overtakes, it's a stark difference from the sounds that the forest brought. It is simply the passing of whipping winds and nothing but the sounds of your own voices and the steps that you take when you step outside. It is absolutely dead quiet out here.
Otto's going to be the first one to get out. He's going to kind of ready his light blaster pistol and just kind of start scanning the area. Just with, obviously his heat vision mode
Cowboy in the
active.
west, we see you unholster your blaster. We can hear it power up, taking the first few steps off the ship and just scanning the horizons for immediate threats. But nothing comes back to you, saying that there's anything nearby.
I would say as Cross and Varen start coming off the ship, I don't see anything just yet. I'm going to start making my way towards the building.
So when I get down, one of the things I'm going to immediately do when I look about is kind of like taking the sights of where it is that there might be any degree of life that is now growing here. And I don't mean like animals, so that too. I mean more like plant life, so on and so forth.
Shrubbery and such.
Yeah.
Yeah, you may make me a perception check.
Difficulty?
Just 2 to see.
7 red.
The planet actively is trying not to grow anything.
But actually actively is going against you finding it's growing. Secrets. Cut!
It still looks dead as hell out here. There is not a single sign of plant life that you can see.
Okay.
Just depressing.
Yeah,
When you step
no,
off the
that's
ship
fine.
and
I
see
step
that.
off, I look around, I see that. And so I make no real expression. I'm probably back to being my more quiet, muted self of when we first met. Before even the first session, when we first met, you know what I mean? But I say nothing. I step off the ship and I just look to follow lead. Like I often do.
Bato was already on his way, so you follow Bato in tow. And Varen, when you step off, being the last one, you see the both of them walking in a straight single file line towards the building on this dirt ground. Do you just kind of quietly and wordlessly follow?
He would take a moment to kind of center himself on the battlefield. Just taking in what happened. And after a few moments, he would follow.
So do you all just quietly walk then for the rest of the distance until you get to what you would consider the entrance to this place?
For now,
Looking
yeah.
around, yeah.
I think I'm going to be wary because my concern is whether or not there are people here. Because again, I scanned, found nothing. So probably we found nothing, but it's also a beat up old ship. So I'm looking to see if there's any people here. But honestly, I'm not looking for people because I'm worried about my own safety. I'm looking for people because I know I'm outside of the ship with a Mandalorian.
I would have wanted to be leagues ahead of you in like distance so that I'm kind of by myself. I know that Bato knows that threat, which is why he's scanning the area.
Sure.
I was going to ask, as I get closer to the building, would I be able to see any fresh new footprints? Would I be able to roll for perception or that? Kind of looking for any life signs or anything like that?
That would be survival check.
Okay.
Because the land itself is so lifeless, it's only going to be against 2 purple.
All right.
There you go, Chad.
Did that roll?
I did not see a roll.
Okay.
Wait.
I see a
See
roll
that
now.
one?
Woohoo!
Okay.
2 successes. You actually do see signs of life. A trail that leads off. It's winding, not in a single file line, and it's not even true bipedal footsteps. That looks like a whole lot of legs, and they're set wide apart. Whatever the creature is or was is enormous.
Can I see where it came? Like, was it walking away from the building?
Like it was walking parallel to the building, but you're still a good 100 feet out from the building itself.
I'm gonna kind of crouch down, look at the, just kind of look at the ground, look at the dirt. And as soon as I see that, I'm just gonna kind of put my hand up, kind of like motioning to stop.
Yep.
And kind of like ask Krasa to come up. I'm just gonna kind of point to him with 2 fingers and tell him to come up quickly and quietly.
Mike,
I'm gonna show him.
Difficulty of your stealth check.
Dex stealth against just 2.
2 stealth. Where are you, stealth? Bam. Oh, what did I roll? Oh,
You
hey.
rolled a triumphant failure.
Yep, hey, that's cool. So I trip. I trip and I'm obvious, but find a lightsaber.
No, you just carry your momentum and don't make much noise.
Found another legendary 300,000
fourth
credit
lightsaber.
dagger.
Excuse me. I rolled a triumph. I expect something awesome in my failure.
You looked really cool.
You tripped, but you front flipped and landed on your feet because of your cat-like reflex.
There's nothing special in this area that you can trip, find, and do.
I trip and don't set off, but realize there's still an active mine there, and I'm like, shit. There's a minefield.
No, there's no mind.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. That'd be a great discovery.
Bata would show to Crossus the footsteps, kind of as you described them, as they are kind of big. And very, very quietly, obviously my helmet gonna make a lot of noise. My helmet's gonna make a lot of noise, but I'm gonna try to whisper as low as I can.
Against a 1, Scott, for you.
I find your lack of imagination disturbing. God damn it!
Yeah, you don't recognize these.
So I look at.
You are like it's borderline impressive.
Like your computer's broken tonight.
Again, if you watch me on Maggie's show on Monday, I cannot fail a roll. I play Warhammer, and I'm like, roll for intimidation. I rolled just for funsies. I rolled an 18. But like, oh my god, we'll never see that high of a roll again. Literally, my first roll the next session, I rolled a 19. Like that's a game where, like, if you roll a d6 and you roll a 5 or a 6, that's how you get a success. Like, you should not be getting those high of numbers, Anyways.
So so he doesn't recognize him. So I imagine just
him,
Cross and be like, I don't know. I'm just gonna kind of scold him. This is your home planet. You don't know what this is. Kind of quietly.
You say this is your whole planet. You don't know what this is.
Yeah.
Perhaps you had missed all the times that I said it, but our culture was destroyed. We are slowly putting it back together.
I'm gonna kind of just mock him. Yeah, my people killed your people. Yeah, okay. I'm just gonna just kind of like almost ignore him, kind of like just keep walking. I'm gonna kind of point to Varen and just be like, keep an eye out, kind of a thing. Through my survival check, do I know if these are extremely fresh prints, or are they do I know the age of them?
It's hard to tell because there's so little movement and life in this area that prints can last quite some time. And the wind itself is not whipping huge amounts, but because you can still see them, they're at the very least at the oldest, a couple of days.
Okay, so yeah, I would still be cautious, kind of probably a little bit lower to the ground, even though I imagine it's just kind of like a giant like a nuke went off in this area, just barren kind of a thing, not really anywhere to hide, but continuously scanning the horizon as well as working towards the building.
Okay, and you continue to walk. When you approach the thing, and as it comes into distance, closer and closer into view, you can see that the 4 corners of this building each hold a in-place turret, all powered down, and clearly the sands of time have withered away at the metals. And while things of Mandalorian make are certainly made to last, not everything is made of Beskar, even of the best of times. They can't have random outposts made of indestructible metals. And so corrosion, rust, and perhaps even looting over the years' time, as random spacefarers came and went, have certainly done its number on this building. Wheeling around, you realize in the front there's a giant, huge automatic door that would once raise. It is closed now, completely metal, blast door material. So vehicles could come and go. And off to the side, there's just at the edge at the corner of the building, a door fit for personnel. But much like the rest, rust and time have eaten at it.
Oh,
That's you.
Does anybody say anything, or do they just kind of stare at it?
I'm yeah. It's looking at it, looking about. Annoyed with his last comments, but still, there's nothing to say. If he doesn't seem to be moving or doing anything else,
I would have probably kind of gone around the entire building looking to see if there's any way to get on top of the building.
Not easily. There's no built-in climbing areas. This thing is built like a metal box.
Fort. Yeah, like a metal fort. Yeah.
Is this something? Because again, Cathar, claws. Is this something that I might be able to climb up there, or no?
No, your nails against this metal would do damage to your fingers.
Okay.
This is again built specifically to keep Cathar in or out.
Yeah.
Would I be able to?
Probably some Beskar alloy.
Would I? Is there a specific role that I can do that would allow me to know, or even like a warfare thing that would allow me to know if there's a different way in for Mandalorians?
You can go ahead and make me a warfare check. This building is still a few centuries old to you, so
Right.
your knowledge would not necessarily carry over and might not even hold. But especially since afterwards the clan separated, so knowledge became sparse. Against 4 purples.
Okay. And warfare, yeah.
Yes, sir. Well, you certainly know of buildings from your clans and clans that you're familiar with having secret entrances just in case in times of emergency, and it wouldn't necessarily even surprise you. You're not certain, and just the way this thing looks, it just looks so secure.
So as I take that failure, I'm just going to kind of explain what I do. Is I would probably, as I'm sure Crosso and Baron would be watching me, I'd kind of go to where our secret hatches would be and stuff like that. And I kind of kick the dirt around and like, no, they don't have them here. Kind of like mumbling to myself. And I would just say to them, this is not built like it is now in modern time. We usually set up secret traps, secret doors that we can get in through here.
Rasta, can you hack a way in?
I do not think so. I think perhaps we find open window or open door. I understand that it is meant to be prison or slave compartment, but perhaps there was place for Mandalorian overlords to look at the beautiful sky?
Cared not for beauty of sky, we looked for beauty of war. That has not changed in times.
Yes, there is nothing more beautiful in warfare than slavery. I agree.
At the end of that, Bata would start to look around to just see if there was any way to penetrate the door.
He said penetrate.
Did.
You walk up to the front of the blast door simply looking to see if there's a way in, to see if there's power.
I would check to see if I imagine there's kind of like a computer, kind of like a
Yeah, there's a little
pad, like-
terminal, a little pad, and you walk over and you kind of, as you approach, it's just caked in dirt and grime and dust. We see Bato reach forward with his gloved hand and just kind of kick a lot of it off, clearing open at least a little viewing port to see the screen. He punched a few numbers and nothing happens, and just after he punches it with his fist a few times, and just for a minute you see the screen kind of spark to life.
Perhaps I can do something with this. And I like almost go over not quite shoulder you out of the way.
I would have
but, like,
totally just let you in. I would have totally let you in.
I'm actually very interested in old school Mandalorian technology. And so I will gladly go over there and pull up because I keep all of my electronic stuff in my backpack, not like openly on my person because it would look weird. So I drop my backpack and reach and pull up my data pad or slicer gear, I should say. Pull my slicer gear, hook it in, and then start rapidly tapping.
As you go to do that, can I assist you in just telling you what technology we use?
You would need to make a computer's check against 4 difficulty die to assist.
Woo!
I'm gonna try.
Good luck,
So
sir.
you may make that roll first.
All right. Is it computers? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Damn.
Okay.
Scott, it's gonna be against 4 purple die computer's check for you.
Okay. So he doesn't assist, but I am once again. I'm gonna put in what's it called? Intense focus, and take 1 strain to give myself an upgrade.
Are you doubling up?
We currently have 2 light side. I honestly think it is a good idea to double up because this is like the entrance of this facility. What do you boys think?
Yeah, no, that's fine. This is important to all of our characters too.
Okay, so I double up, and that's a double upgrade, and I'm gonna computer check it. Well,
Nice.
could have gone worse. I was like, okay, it succeeded. 3 successes, Mike.
Yep, nope. And so, like I said, it kicks to life, and text starts to display on the screen, and it flickers a few times as static kind of emanates across the surface of it. For eventually, you plug your data pad in, and through work and trial and error, and working with a dead programming language and technology a few centuries out of date at this point, about 15 minutes pass of you spending an unreasonable amount of time on this, but eventually, and you were on the verge of losing it, eventually you crack the code, and you actually can hear the hydraulic locks struggle to unlock as the rust has kind of stuck them in place, but you should as the locks open, and then that personnel door slowly starts to slide to the left, gets caught, you see some sparks as it's getting pulled, and it gets stuck about 3/4 of the way there, and the door just kind of stops there. You actually hear it power down, and the computer screen goes black.
Well, I think this is all we are going to get out of this one. And I look, and I'm the slimmest of the 3 of us. So
True.
I've got, even though my perception's terrible, I've got my cat eyes, even though he's got his infrared. So I'll actually immediately like grab up my backpack and start walking forward into the door while stuffing my.
Can I get an athletics check from you,
Electronics in there.
please?
What's the difficulty?
The difficulty is going to be against a 1. It's not a tight squeeze. Did open 3/4 of the way. Everybody athletics check against a 1 as you enter.
Instead of a healing strain, I'm gonna give a blue to the
next
next
person?
person coming through. Yeah.
Okay, who wants to roll next?
I imagine I'd be the last one through because this is their thing.
Okay.
And I was already trailing behind.
Well, do you heal some strain and pass a blue die?
You're muted, Pet.
I'll heal that 1 strain that I got. Sorry. I'll heal that 1 strain I got, and I'll pass a blue one. So, good luck, Wade.
Thank you. One of us has to not make it through.
Wow.
Won't be me.
Well, you all make it through. It's not that difficult for Varen. It's very simple. It's you slip through without a problem, but you all slip through without issue. The first thing you see when you all slip through this door is you're right up against the wall. This door was on the right-hand side. On your right, there's just metal, like smooth metal wall. To your left, there's a little railing keeping about rib cage, like midway height, that opens up and gives way to a giant receiving pad. In the center of that, I guess you call it like a garage, there is a utterly rundown, neglected vehicle, a ground vehicle of a type with treads at the bottom. Could I get an education check, please, against 3 reds or 3 purples? Sorry, not 3 reds. Jesus.
For all of us, or just Krasa, or just
All of you, and it's all the same difficulty.
Knowledge education.
I'm assuming strain, sir.
Education. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, take strain. Bato and Varen, you do not recognize it. It makes sense for Krasa. This place was a site of mining excavations. This particular vehicle is a mining vehicle. Likely not too far out, there's a hole in the ground somewhere where most of the Cathar were probably used for manual labor. This particular vehicle would be loaded up with everything that they mined and brought back here for processing and shipment.
So I look this over and say, this vehicle, it is very well guarded. It's for transporting a good number of things. Perhaps it has a bit of charge left. Perhaps we can use this if need be for looking further out than just this building.
Looking at it, it looks like it's in fucking ass end repair. Getting this thing up and running would be multiple day project at the
What
very
about the
least.
garage door?
You're not even sure if you can get it open.
Yeah, I would just be like, if we did get it running, I would be open that giant steel door.
Does the facility itself seem to have power?
No, there's no lights on or anything here. And as you're actually having this conversation, you're passing everything by, you realize this building is actually built for a very simple purpose. Because beyond the giant empty area in the center with that mining vessel vehicle there, or transportation vehicle, the walls are 3 stories tall. And you can look out over the railing and into the rest of it, and you can see they're just all lined with jail cells. And as you pass by the smooth wall on your right and it gives way to the rest of the first floor, on your right-hand side, you pass by old jail cells that were once, as you reach forward, had a force field to hold them in, but no longer the power is there. A few of them even have very clearly Catharian skeletons.
Otto's just gonna.
You do eventually realize that there's a sub-basement floor that you can't get to without power, and that there's personal offices and stuff. If you want to explore this whole thing room for room, you'd be looking at a couple days.
I actually want to look and see if there's a terminal or something like that about.
Yeah, there's a terminal not too far, right on the first floor, on the other side of the railing where you would have to be on the side of the clearing. There's a terminal over in the center of where this would be.
I'm gonna say, Bato, I am going to explore this terminal over here and see if there is power. I do not believe there will be. Perhaps you can check vehicle and see if there might be charge in vehicle. We might be able to splice it. Yes, yes.
If anything, we can try to give power to the terminal if there's in any way, if there's a charge.
Sure.
Yeah. Yes.
So if you're gonna check the ship, the vehicle for a power source, a mechanics check against three purple. Who's gonna make the check and who's gonna assist?
No, I understand your Mandalorian always wears his helmet. That's your clan or whatever, Pat. But your character's actual race, is it Jawa?
No. It would have been nice to have like a really nice mechanics. No.
So who's got the best mechanics role here?
Two green.
I'm over here, so you guys can try first to aid him. Wait.
Wait, what's your mechanics?
4 green. I'm doing the computer spy.
All right, who's assisting who? What now?
I'll roll to try to assist. 3
all right, roll it.
purples.
3. Okay, you assist.
I should have just rolled the stupid mechanics roll.
Why are they rolling to us to aid? Usually, you just either give a blue or you combine the stats. I mean, in some scenarios, you might say, no, this is a difficult thing. Like the piloting thing is like that's a mechanic.
Yeah.
That's a base mechanic.
You're right.
So yeah.
Well, then Wade just rolled it, so we could just have Wade's this thing.
Yeah,
Well,
Wade,
we
you
re-roll
just
the blue
suffer.
either way,
You just
so.
suffer that strain, Wade.
We need to re-roll with the blue. So who's gonna do it? Who's rolling with the blue? Who's rolling the mechanics against 3 purple with the blue? Are you using a force point as well?
Oh, it's our last one.
No.
Cool. I'll use one and make it against a red.
You want to roll this, Pat?
I'll fail it, man.
You find a
purples.
battery, but it
No,
explodes.
it's 3 purples with an upgrade, and you have a blue on your side.
There you go.
So give
Upgrade
yourself a
the
blue,
difficulty.
put an upgrade and 3 purples on the right.
We got to get a despair.
Wait,
to show
I
up
get an
eventually.
upgrade on my side?
No,
No,
to upgrade
you
the
get a blue.
difficulty, you get a blue die.
Right. Okay.
They get an upgrade, so it's 3 purples with an upgrade, which makes it 2
Gotcha.
purples and a red.
We've
Watch
not seen
this-
the despair show up, so I'm waiting for it.
See,
Boom!
wow, that is amazing.
Wow.
Nice
Take all that
roll,
as
Pat.
strain.
See,
That's a lot of strain.
I would have been
How's
nicer.
everybody's strain looking, by the way?
I had 0. I'm at 5 after 2 rolls.
Yeah.
I was at 2. I went down to 1, so now I'm at 5. Oh.
It takes you a few hours of ripping out, pulling apart metals, getting under areas you need to, just like basically taking this thing apart, a vehicle you're not familiar with and how it's even made. But eventually you realize, yes, that the batteries inside the vehicle do have enough of a charge to get the main terminal up and running again.
All right, knowing that, I'm just gonna tell Varen. Yeah, I think there's a little bit of charge. You want to go and report that to Krasa? Ask him how he wants us to get, how he wants us to get juice over there.
Meanwhile, I succeed my check and there was already power.
Varen would say, Fine. I'll do that, but you should also see if there's anything of use in the vehicle itself.
I don't usually do time stuff too much, but at this point, after a few hours of breaking this thing down, you're now at the point where it's like looking to be very, very late. You have very long days and relatively short nights here on the Cathar. The sun is down. It's what you would consider maybe 2 a.m. for local time comparison. You have not rested. Is that something you all plan on doing and resting, or do you plan on working through the night?
We can definitely rest, but I didn't
feel
find out the
great.
condition of the.
I rested.
What, Scott?
I had nothing to do for 8 hours.
You're fine.
I rested.
But you have strain now, so.
We didn't find out the Go ahead.
Question: while I rested, would I have recovered my strain?
From the session before?
No. Like the 8 hours while I stayed on the ship, and they went to go do.
What strain did you have from before that?
I had 3 from the ship line stuff.
Oh, yeah, no, that would have been healed for sure.
Okay, so I'm technically at 4 then.
Okay.
Because I accumulated
you
one
just got
strain.
about 4. Scott, what were you asking? My apologies.
So you're saying it's 2 a.m, but go back several hours from when they first started working on the vehicle. I didn't roll on that terminal.
Yeah,
yet.
you never rolled your computer's check yet. I'm aware. That still needs to happen. It's going to be against 3 purples as well.
Okay, and then we can kind of figure out what
But
state.
like
we're
they
in.
needed to get their mechanics check done so you could power your terminal. So you're now only doing the computer's check after the.
Oh,
power's
I
been
thought I
pulled
was
out.
checking to see if it needed power, and if so, if there's something I could work
you
on.
immediately checked that to see it was like it needs power, so they started taking it out of there while you've been tinkering with the terminal to make. No, you weren't going to have time to roll because you're tinkering with the terminal to make sure that it would work properly by taking out
That's
the
fine.
wires and shit.
That's fine. So if I was kind of tinkering that, it's 2 a.m, and I would say if it gets to the point where one of us brings up the time, I don't know. I'll even be the one to do it. I'll say it is getting a little bit late, and cat stretches.
Never do that again. We'll go sleep.
Do you want me to actually go do cat stretches on the ground behind me? You can watch. Do some downward facing dog. No? Okay. So I say it is getting a little bit late, and I think we are all a bit tired. But I would rather us finish getting the terminal up and the information off of it before calling quits. I think we've made breakthrough.
We don't know how much power we have left. I say we try to get as much done as possible.
Yes.
That's fair.
All right.
Then-
So Scott, computers check me against 3 purple. Would you like to use a force point?
Are they able to? One of them able to assist me now that they're moved away from there?
They can give you a blue.
Yeah. So I'll take a blue from them. And once again, this is
Wade would be with you. I would still be by the car because I wanted to inspect it.
oh, cool. I'm once again I'm going to take a strain to give myself an upgrade for this check because I care about computers, and I am not going to use a light side point for this. 3 purple, you said.
Upgrade your difficulty.
That's fine.
I knew that was coming.
Despair. I need it. If anybody's gonna roll with despair, it's gonna be Scott. Damn it! so many yellows.
See,
Good job.
I'd go about it so differently. I would have less purples because the systems are like outdated, so they're like easy to hack into because newer stuff's easy, like higher quality. But lots of black dice because it's not compatible.
Well, see, I just equate it to just raw difficulty.
Yeah.
Of maintaining it. However, you were able to. So, are you gonna spend time going through the files? Or are you simply gonna say transfer, like mass transfer files, and just let it transfer and
I will gladly data dump for us to go over later on. So I imagine even while
When
we're
you
resting,
data
it's doing that. Yep.
it's going to take time.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like some files just take frickin' forever for no reason. Others take instantly, and these are old
YouTube
files
processing?
Yeah, it's like YouTube processing over the course of as
Don't
far as
go
you can.
there.
When you watch and you're looking at the estimates, it's like 12, 13 hours.
Yep. Okay, that's fine. That's
Man, we
actually
got like a 20 megabyte upload right now. This is horrible.
Yeah, it's rough.
I imagine my data
One
pad
down.
has more than enough space to handle the file dump plus.
If not, you have extra data cylinders you can swap out or whatever. It is, yeah, you're good.
Cool.
You haven't really done a major data dump in your data pad or anything at all anyway. So you have 12 or so hours to kill. Where do you spend the night? In this building, on the ship?
Before that happens, would I be able to run a check on the truck while he's doing that?
Yeah,
while
yeah,
Wade
like
is
what- like
while
what
Baron
is-
is walking back. I just wanted to inspect the ship or the transport vehicle, see if there's anything it's carrying anything in the cabin,
Yeah, oh,
It-
yeah.
anything.
Honestly, it's very quick search because this thing is relatively like old and worn down anyway. You don't even have to make a roll for it.
Okay.
It's basically a sci-fi fancy dump truck. And so as you kind of look
Does it have
through
spinners?
it, spinners.
Yeah, like on the rims, spinners.
Oh
Old-
God, no! The Mandalorians don't do bling, dude.
They could. We could
I mean,
start it.
they may be after this. There's a clan that's specifically focused on bling.
Clan bling.
Clan bling.
Bling, yeah.
Bling bling. But no, there's nothing of value on this truck at all.
Okay. Yeah. After my initial just look through, then, and if it's already hooked up and Cross is good, I probably would have reported back with them.
Okay, so I honestly it'd be like, this is going to take a while, perhaps half a day. Not a problem. We are not in a rush to leave, but did you find place for rest?
Other than the ship, no. You want to stay in here?
The ship is a little bit away, isn't it, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, it's like a little bit of a walk away. Yeah.
I don't know if we want to leave the data pad completely
Supervised.
yeah.
We have a wide open door into this facility. It's not exactly secure.
Perhaps if we can rest inside this vehicle. Cathar are known to curl up a little ball when sleeping.
You guys rest. I'll take first watch. I got plenty of rest while you guys were mingling with your people. Awesome. I could take first watch. You guys rest.
You can have the vehicle cross-eyed. There's another place I'd like to rest.
Into the jail cells with you, then, Varen.
He goes back on the ship. There's another place I want to rest. In my
And you go
bed.
back to the ship. So it's like a bit of a walk, but you eventually make your way back to the ship.
I know.
Well, no, Farron doesn't want to go to.
Yeah, no,
My
we
bad.
were kidding. Yeah. So
Farron
I'm gonna go in
actually
the
does
car.
want to go sleep in one of the jail cells.
Okay, gotcha. So you all
Oh,
stay
you
in the
do?
building.
He does.
A little dark.
He Varen's got a lot going on in his mind right now, and he.
Is it obvious? Like, would it be obvious the other two
Yeah,
that you're
actually,
like
it
to
probably
yourself?
would. Whenever he says that, it would. You would see that there's definitely something crossing his mind, and he's not being forthcoming about it.
If it's played in your face, one of the things I'd say as we're like going our own ways to go to bed, like as I'm kind of like opening the truck door and kind of climbing up into it, I'd probably look back and be like, Varen, don't forget, go for a walk, but do not let the mind steep too deep. Yes?
That's what I'm trying to do, but everything. What I feel does not match with what I know.
Rest well. I'll even call over to Bato and be like, I'll take second watch. And climb in and slam the door shut or shut the door, whatever it is. And curl up into a cute little ball. Can I get my leg up there?
I guess I rolled a despair on trying to rest with all the noises I'm
Yeah,
hearing.
yeah.
So you just be here in the other room. I can almost reach. I can almost reach.
Not
Not
as
my
flexible as I
prime.
used to be. Hard to lick between toes.
Must go ask Elder the help.
So who's got first watch? Bato.
Yeah, I got first watch.
Cross has got second watch. Varn's got third.
Varen's just gonna sleep. He's a wonderful man.
I went back to the terminal. I locked him into his cell
Yeah, the power.
with the little power
Not
we have
enough. Not enough power to give other cells power. Just enough to get this terminal up and running for what you need.
He's gonna do the whole Geralt just meditating inside of a prison cell.
And then you wake up with full of potions. Alchemy has happened, and you were even
It's
doing
great.
anything.
Oh hell yeah, I'll take that. Good old
Okay.
Star Wars healing potions.
The night goes by uneventfully, rather quietly, in fact. Morning comes, and as Krasa walks over to the data pad to check how the data's coming along, you realize there's only a few more minutes left and the thing will finish. Perception checks all three of you against 3 purple.
Okay.
Nothing's ever easy. rather fail than take strain.
Perception.
Well,
Sorry, you're waking up. You're waking up with 1 strain. Well, for me, 1 strain, and for you,
Oh yeah,
Varen.
do we sleep off the rest of the strain? Is
Correct.
it gone after?
Correct.
Oh, thank
Varen and
God, never
Bato,
mind.
you hear a very faint but certainly distinct and discernible in all the quiet passing starship in the sky. The scream of engines. It's faint, meaning it's probably high up there, but you can just barely hear it in the silence of this building.
I immediately walk towards the front of the.
Sure.
Imagine we're all kind of like near the terminal.
Yeah, you're all
or
getting up,
around
getting together. Cross is checking his data pad as you all kind of stretch. You, for a moment, you stop for a moment, Varen as well, and you both hear it, and we just see Bato without even saying a
Immediately
word.
just goes straight to the
walk
door. I
to
would take
Bato.
my rifle out and I would just kind of point with the scope. And as I'm looking, I would be like, Starship.
Varen
It's
is
far,
very
but-
close behind you, and like you said, you see Bato pull it, and you see the scope, and the detail is still too hard to see, but you do see the dot, and you're able to track it as you have it just in view. It's a small ship. It's not a cruiser or anything huge like that. That much you can tell, and it's screaming across the sky. It is the only thing that's moving in an otherwise desolate view.
It probably knows we're here. Our ship is not hard to miss.
Cross is still inside, so it's just you and Varen out there.
Cross had told me that his people, it's not very often that they even learn to fly ships like that. This is... Something's wrong.
You should head back to the ship if possible. Put shields up. If they do come in through, and if they have gunnery on that ship and they attack it, we're sitting ducks out here.
I'm not sure we're ready to leave yet.
Ask Krasa. I'll keep an eye on the ship. Both
Let me know if
ships.
anything changes or if it lands or if you see it pass again. Just keep me updated.
As he said, he wouldn't even take his eye off the ship. He would just kind of nod. You just hear the clank of his armor.
Varen steps back inside, and Varen, Krasa, as you were in here watching your data pad, just as Varen walks back in, you've been watching, it's been stuck at 98% for the past few minutes. And this final file, the single file, seems incredibly corrupt and is transferring at an incredibly slow rate. You hear footsteps enter the building behind you.
I hear the footsteps entering. Yep, I'll kind of look up and be like, this fucking thing just takes too long. 98%? For how long now? God damn it.
It's always 99 that takes the longest. It'll only get worse.
Jeez.
You said your people don't often use starships, right?
Very rarely.
And they have no
Can.
reason to come to an area like this.
Unless they're doing a search like we are doing, but again, very unlikely.
The coincidence, the odds of that. A ship just passed overhead. I'm not sure we'll be alone here for long.
Shit. The transponder on our current vessel, it is the original transponder. It'll read to any that are investigating that it is an old Imperial ship. It is likely that somebody got a ping and that they are investigating. This could be happenstance, or it could be very bad.
I'd more like to believe the first, but inclined to believe the second. The moment that's done, we should move.
I'll see if I can rush it. I look down at the thing. I know there's no way to rush it. I look back up
You
and say,
stare at it, you're like,
I'll do what I can. I'll look back at it, pretend like I'm pressing buttons.
Why don't we take our first and our second and final break of the night now?
But the music is so intense, like it's like right in the.
No, good. Bring it back when we come back.
So
Yeah,
pause
don't
it.
do that though when we come back.
Yeah,
please.
don't make that maneuver motion.
Oof.
We'll be back.
Welcome back, everybody, to the final hour.
Countdown.
Final countdown. Oh, just me? Okay.
Yeah.
Chewing on a granola bar, sorry.
Oh.
Well, you're left with the realization that a ship flew over, could be nothing, and then a little bit of time. Can I get, during this time, what's your first reaction? So you went to Krasa to let him know, and Krasa's like, I'm gonna do everything I can to make this thing go faster. What is your next move from there, Varen? To head back out to Bato?
Yeah, I guess he would go back out to keep an eye, but he would also, yeah, actually he would go to Bato.
Go ahead.
Bato, it may not be possible to leave this place right away. Plus, we wanted to take some time. This is an old Mandalorian holding station, prison, whatever have you. Can you help us figure out the best way to defend it if it comes to that?
Anything inside
warfare
this
check?
building is... Oh, yeah.
Against 2 purple.
Ooh!
Wow, not only a success, but a triumphant success with some strain, but still, still amazing.
Looking around, you realize, much like you did when you first arrived here, there's only really one point of entrance and exit here, and that's the front. There's the personnel open and the double door. There's no back door, whether that's to keep the slave race secure, make sure there's only one in and out and they can handle them if they leave. That's great. It also helps save on cost because it means you only needed 2 turrets at the very top, none in the rear. Out of the 2 turrets, though, while they may not be powered, the amount of power that is powering the terminal could power up one of those turrets again to help you defend if if it was needed. Moreover, if they do power up, you do know that if you had the time, whether now or you come back for it another time, those turrets could likely be removed and retrofitted onto your ship at some point.
Yes. I mean, very cool.
Nice. That's a good roll. We will take that roll.
But you know that that's going to require probably a few days worth of work. So they're not
Right.
going anywhere. You know, the technology, you look at this, just so you know, I know because Pat's probably like, give me these now. But in Bato's mind,
No, we're gonna need. We're gonna need time.
you feel safe enough that nobody's going to come and fucking nick these in a couple of days or anything.
Right, they haven't come over so far. Bato will just exclaim, kind of like what you said. We've got a perfect bottleneck situation here. This is the only entrance, the only exit. That's the good and bad news. Good news is they don't know how many of us are in here. Judging by our ship, they could probably make an estimate. The only concern I have is if it is the Force user that was attacking us, they could probably cut a new entrance through a door with a saber very easily.
With a fortress like this, that would take time. That would leave them exposed. It's easier for them to fight their way through the doorway, I'd imagine, but anything is possible.
It took us a little bit to get through that door too. That door is not wide open. They're not going to be running in here. I'll be able to see them. I can post up and I'm kind of like point down the hallway. I could post up and just aim my rifle towards the door. You can play the close combat game. Rasa can be watching the terminal. We can hook these turrets up if need be, taking power from the terminal and using it to our advantage. But
We should be prepared for the worst, but in case these aren't who we think they are, I mean, this could just be scavengers. This could be anything. We don't want to shoot first, but we want to make sure we're prepared to shoot last.
I'll let you take the lead on talking. If you think you need backup, you give me a gesture and I will be your backup.
That sounds good. We should let Scott get his headphones on. We should let Crossa know what's going on then. Oh my god.
God, Jesus Christ.
What kind of psychopath sits there shivering the entire break and then goes and gets ice cream? I feel like we should lose a light side point for his insolence.
That's true. That was the dark side move.
Yeah. So we'd go in to talk to Crossa, I guess. Scott, what you missed was he rolled a triumph on his warfare check. The turrets outside we could reroute to use. If we take away the power from once the data log's done transferring, we take that power and give it to the turrets.
I don't think it's going to be done in time for that, though. It's going to be either we sacrifice the pending and turn up the power on the turrets.
Oh, we'll find out.
Yeah, you don't know yet.
I'm
quite sure.
We could also retrofit the turrets onto our ship, but it would take a few days to do that. So we could have guns again, Scott.
So my response. So you have to come in and inform me of the options.
That's what we would be doing.
Yeah.
I will kind of just say again to Crossa my plan that I went over with Varen is this is made into a fortress. The only big thing we have to worry about is a force user cutting his way in with a saber in an area we don't know. But again, we're on the top level. We're on the main level. They're not going to be cutting through the roof that we think of. But this is a bottleneck area. We can post up along the side. Perrin, you could be in the front. Crossa, you be handling the terminal in case anything goes south, and you can immediately just push those buttons and turn that turret on. So that was pretty much what we talked about. But
I say we are still not aware if these persons are even hostile.
Yes, we will try speaking first.
Whether their intent is hostile or not, Varen will confront them. If he feels he's in danger, I'll be watching.
Yes,
and I'll kind of like tap my rifle.
I will say that obviously surviving any situation is going to be the most important. However, if we can make sure that these turrets could be used as parts or as replacements for the broken ones on the vessel, that would be better than this one ship that we are encountering in this moment. I feel like I've spent it too long on Tatooine. I feel like I think like Jawa. I'm sorry, I think like Java.
Java?
Java.
Java the Hut? Java the Coffee Hut?
No,
Baby Java?
Java, like Otini.
Language?
Otini, Java.
I've never been to Uva Java.
No, Java, like Otini, on Tatooine, Java, no? Sorry, let me say in your accent.
Perhaps you should make the turrets work on me then.
Java. Java.
So, anyway, what's the plan? Just to wait and see what happens with the loading thing, and then if it gets done in time, try and power the turrets?
Yeah, Varen, how far is the terminal from the door?
I would want to power the turrets enough to give them like a systems check,
Far.
but I wouldn't necessarily even want to show that they're online. I wouldn't want to power them up. Because their ship might be
I would want to tell you that is the last resort.
Yeah, okay.
I want the computer to finish whatever the hell it's doing because I don't know computers.
So
I don't know how long it's going to
stay
take.
inside the building then. Okay,
Yeah,
that's all I need to know.
I think
I'd
would
be standing in the doorway, keeping an eye out, and also watching our ship to make sure no one's trying to land and take an.
I'm going to be kind of concealed in the shadows down the hallway, kind
Scott.
of watching over the front door.
Remember the picture I gave you last week?
Yeah.
Can I have
No.
that on screen?
Oh, no. One moment, please.
You all decided to make this detour. I didn't.
I don't like anything about what's being said right now.
Yeah, I don't like this.
Yay!
Baron, as you can see now on the screen, Baron, as you're standing watching,
That's a much nicer ship than ours.
off in the distance, a good distance away, not within walking distance, you see coming from behind you, can hear the engines rip by you, and just a very quick as it dissipates. The engines are much quieter than yours, and this ship is sleek looking, like a silver arrow with bright blue neon outlining on the inside, and it outlines the engines nicely.
Blue and Jedi.
It flips ahead, it zips ahead of you, but not far enough where you lose sight of it, because eventually you see it, the engines roar bright to life before they dim completely, and you see it very smoothly turn in the air and gently land on the ground not too far out. After some time passes, you can see a multitude of silhouettes marching their way toward your location.
Can I see from where I'm standing?
No. The only way you can see this if you're at the door looking out the building. You do not have those big double doors that open. There are no like windows. This is a very secure building.
So they're beelining right for us.
It looks it. They're still a ways away in the distance. You can't really tell how far, but they're tiny silhouettes.
I would let the other two know. The ship has landed. They are heading directly for us on foot. We don't have much time.
You one or both of you have the ability to magnify your vision. How many do you see?
Magnify vision.
I would walk to the door. I would walk to the door and just kind of like aim my rifle, or just use the scope.
Okay, can I get a perception check against 3 purple, please?
Yep. Would my heat vision help me in this scenario?
Those negate blacks. They don't give you bonus.
Yeah, this is a dead land. There's not a lot of dust in the air. You certainly see what looks to be somewhere around 15 to 20 people making their way toward you.
Jesus Christ, is what Bato will say, and just exclaim,
Who?
I see. You said 15 to 20?
Correct.
I would just say 15, maybe 20. I can't tell. They're kind of walking side by side. They're
Does
so
any
far
stand
out.
more than the other?
Not from this far out.
Adiz
Can't
Cathar.
tell.
Adiz Cathar.
If it's Cathar, they have a hell of a ship. Put it that
As
way.
I say, yeah, Bato would just exclaim that. If that's exactly what I was gonna say. It's like, if it is, they've got a nice ship. In the last 5 years, you not being here, they made some advancements.
So did you say there was like what, 30 to 40 wild boars or something like that?
15 to 20 people.
Or humanoid-looking.
A well-crewed
walk-
ship. A well-crewed ship of like smaller, medium size.
Okay, awesome. So let's. I say I look down at the terminal. How long?
It just ticked up to 99%.
I'll look to Varen and ask. Orders.
We hold our ground for now. Unless you all have a better idea, this is probably the most defensible position we're going to get, and we don't want to fire upon them unless we
We
need that
absolutely need
terminal
to.
finish.
I have idea. I look for the terminal. Is it very obviously powered up? Is there like a sleep mode where it can continue to transfer the file?
Can we just take the terminal and push it somewhere else?
No, it's like in the ground. It is not a roller terminal.
I don't know exactly what it looks like. Is there possible to
It's
grab?
literally just a screen on a podium that is in the middle of the ground at the back of the hangar.
So can you like throw something over it so people
Sure,
wouldn't
yeah,
see it
you
as a
could
display?
throw. Yeah, you could definitely throw like a cloth over the screen or something along those lines.
Varen, perhaps maybe what we should do is toss some disguise over the terminal itself. This would give us an opportunity to hide. Perhaps let them pass through this room. As they move further into the facility, we could,
Otto goes to get a bunch of like Cathar bones and just start stacking them. I'm kidding.
You easily
I'm
find like a tarp or something that you could grab and huck over the terminal.
That could work. The issue is if it doesn't, we're giving up our best point of defense.
not necessarily. There is more chokeholds. Hold on. With the information that's like pulling in, that's already pulled up, can I quickly look up a map of just like this floor, maybe the one above it, to see like other nearby places where we might be able to hold a little bit further back, or?
Yeah, you can computers check me against 1 purple. Blueprints of this place.
I would have
essentially.
Bato help. Once he computers, if he succeeds, I'd have Bato help him with knowledge warfare to get us another position.
You can get to the third. You can get to the 3rd floor where there's certainly a maintenance closet way back there that could buy you time. You're looking for a place to like back up and buy time, right?
We're looking for a place to hide, and then
Sure.
also for a place to
There you
hold
go.
off if we have to.
This isn't a warfare check. This is a computers check.
Yeah.
Yeah, to get the map. So I find like more or less the information or whatever,
A blueprint of the place.
a blueprint of the place, and I say, Bato, look quick, place for us to hide. Other chokehold. Perhaps a hidden location. Look, broom closet.
I'm just gonna exclaim with like absolute sarcasm. Great. Closet.
I narrow my eyes at him. Go ahead, Wade.
Our ship is not hidden. They'll know that we're here somewhere.
I'm sure that's why they are here. I can't imagine many people wanting to come to an old rundown Mandalorian slave-holding factory, holding cell, you know.
Roll your goddamn warfare check.
Yeah, please do. Against 2 purple.
2 purple.
Yeah.
Can I aid him? Be like, no, not there. There.
Yeah, because you have the blueprints, you can give him a blue die.
Yeah. And can I give him another blue die because I rolled somebody advantage?
I guess so. I just went against the rules, right?
2 blue die.
Technically, not mechanically against the rules.
There's quality of maps and VP. Yeah. I did all the work there.
You will net from combat within here will always net you 1 extra blue die on your combat roll, auto if you're in here and fire it away. Strategic pit placement gives you a blue die on your combat rolls.
Cool. Well.
In this room specifically?
In this building.
In this building. So as long as I'm in the building.
As long as you're fighting
I
within the building, you're gonna have a blue die.
Very cool.
Just bottom?
I wasn't planning
We'll see
on
if fighting
leaping.
happens. We'll see if fighting happens.
Bottle's like, you know what? I can fit a couch here.
Yeah, we basically see Bato setting up multiple different sniper positions that he can run to, places
Yeah,
that
I
have
would mainly be
preconceived
going
cover.
on the 3rd
And
floor.
you spend what little time you have left before they are to arrive there. Where's Varen? At the front
Standing
door
in the
waiting?
doorway, looking out as they approach.
Okay.
By the way, Bato still is going by what he told Baron to give him a gesture if things are going wrong to fire. That is I am not shooting until you give me a gesture. That's all.
I want to stay hidden, Mike, as previously discussed, but I want to make sure that I'm kind of nearby. I'm not super far range.
Do you want to make me a stealth check then?
Yeah, of course.
Are you looking to stay stealthy? Is that the plan?
Stay hidden while the terminal's covered up. I'm going to stay hidden. I don't want to be completely removed from the combat, obviously.
Yeah, but you just want to. So give me.
You're in the
'cause
broom closet.
If you're
What are
gonna
you
be, if
talking
you're staying
about?
on the first floor, it's gonna be a stealth check against 1 purple because that's where most of the big stuff is to hide.
Okay. Do I get a bonus for having looked up in the maps or whatever?
No. That won't help you trying to hide like from obvious sights from the front. Yep. And you find a place that is not too far behind a bunch of boxes off to the side, maybe 5 feet away. Time
Under
passes.
some Cathar bones.
Whoops, sorry. Under some Cathar bones, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Just hiding. All right. And Varen, you say you stay at the front, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you stand openly on the other side, or do you stay on the inside, maybe like pressed up against the wall?
They're gonna see me standing there, I believe.
Okay, so you're just out in the open.
Yeah.
Okay. Then Varen, the camera lingers on you. A profile shot of the building with you standing just in front of it. And from the left of the screen, we see a number of people march on, all in black uniforms with blaster rifles slung over their shoulders and their backs. But one stands in front, masked entirely in a dark robe, who just sits there and lets time eat by. The uncomfortable silence weigh heavy on the situation. They stare for quite some time before eventually speaking up. I have to check something though, because I wasn't done setting this voice up.
They waited until to see who blinked first.
Okay, the more time he lets pass, the closer that thing will be to being done.
I can't get the voice I'm looking for here. So, from underneath the voice, underneath the mask, a female voice actually comes forth. Whatever it is you're here for, building, weaponry, history, you can have all of it. This could be a very simple transaction. I saw the interceptor, not too far out, and our sensors picked up 3 of you, I believe, in here. You got away with it the first time, but we were able to follow you here. If you just hand it to me now, we'll walk away.
You want the droid.
Don't be stupid.
Do I recognize the
You do not
Get up.
recognize the voice
no,
or
the
the
get
get
up
up.
that she's wearing?
No, it's very plain. It's a very plain mask. It doesn't look like a Revan mask or anything. Simply a pitch black, detailless mask, much like the rest of the robe.
I will probably mess this up, but I'm going to try to use the Force to influence.
Okay.
The droid is
Hedek
what you're
is-
looking for.
Hedek is wanting to know hotness roll.
You don't see a face, nothing. Simply a voice.
But do we see curves?
Determined.
We see curves? Because, just saying.
Give
Just
me
saying.
1 second.
But can you give me a 360? Listen, it's for posterity.
That's what he uses the Force to do.
She's like, what the?
So they get to roll their discipline check.
It's discipline versus discipline.
Okay.
And I'm going to use a light side point.
Nice.
Before you even try, I'm going to use a light side
Go
point.
ahead. I want to see what you roll first.
Okay. I'll use to upgrade mine.
Warm there, Scott?
What? Yeah, this is so cozy.
Hey, Krasa, what did you do with those advantages?
Not for this roll.
All right.
He can't help you here.
58
I
degrees.
Not a good roll.
Nice. Very
Not
nice.
that good. Well, no. It's a.
Well, now
against
she gets
whatever
a
he rolls.
discipline roll.
Yeah, but I mean, that's a hard number to beat unless she's like super awesome. That's like an unusually good number.
Well, let's just hope that they're not what you think they are.
Fuck you.
Oh, wait,
Well,
I
first
rolled
of all, he wins.
I rolled with the difficulty. I get
He
to
still
reroll,
he
sorry.
still wins. He still wins because you just subtract the one difficulty.
Oh, is that what we're doing now? Do we change?
No, 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 no. He still wins
I'll
without
take it. So, I have to roll a force dice now.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is this something that only he has?
Wow.
The force
that's
dice?
actually
Well, it's
Oh
force
my
dice.
god.
But it's for Force users, correct?
Correct.
let me
Is it
see.
okay?
I don't
'Cause
know
was,
if
I
Q
was
does anything
wondering.
at this low of a power.
Wageless.
Do you have it open, Wade?
What do you want to know about it?
It's just light. You rolled light side, correct? So it's positive things.
Yeah.
So what is it that you're saying to her using the influence as you reach out with the force?
I will say I've sensed you tracking us for some time. I had a feeling you may track us here. We left it in a small village on the other side of the planet as we needed time here. I was unable to unlock it, though I tried.
What is it you're trying to influence her to do?
I want her to believe something untrue, that I don't have it on me, the holocron.
Oh, did you say I don't have it on you? You just said
Yeah,
you're
I
trying
said I
to
left
unlock
it. We were in a small village and I left it there.
Ah. Hmm.
Hey, you
Perhaps it
thought
is-
my race was bad. Look at Wade.
Perhaps it is foolish of you to give in to your fears so quickly. But I could help you. Perhaps when I'm done, I'll come looking for you. She does a very obvious look up and down. You do rather stand out. And she'll actually snap her fingers. They'll all turn. And they all begin to walk back to the ship. You know you bought time. And you know one way or another she's going to figure out you influenced her. Whether it wears off before she gets there or otherwise. But she walks, fully believing that you simply gave up. What do you do, Varen?
I'll watch them walk for a second, and then I'll turn and... I've bought us some time, not much, but some. Krasa, I hope I did not put your village in jeopardy. they believe that what they're searching for is there. We need to move, as this is not a fight, I believe. It's difficult to say, but I don't believe the odds are in our favor.
I apologize for breaking the wall. You are the only one that knows you have the holocron, right? Both Cross and I don't know that you
Yeah, he held
obtained
it
it.
out in front of you. You've seen
You
it.
guys know
Okay.
I have it.
But we don't know what it is.
You
right?
don't know what it is, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Are we under suspicion that that's why they were here, or could we not hear what
Varen
conversation
has
happened
openly
outside?
said to you, like, this is the true treasure. Like, this is what they're looking
You
for.
know, you don't know what it
okay.
is, but you know what they want. I have.
Okay. I don't know if I put two and two together is what I'm saying.
Certainly.
Okay.
Is the transfer finished?
I immediately go over to the thing, pull the shit off of it that we put on, and check the transfer.
Not quite yet.
Unfortunately, no. How long do you think it would take for us to dismantle these firearms, these turrets?
I would just immediately exclaim, "Couple of days."
Fuck. That is not going to help us.
We can always come back. We have this on our logs. They already. Did you tell us the conversation, Wade? That they
If
have
you
no
guys
interest in.
asked, I wouldn't have told you anything else unless you asked, because right now
He literally-
Varen's deep in thought.
Yeah, Varen said they believe that what they want is in the village. Like, you
Okay,
know
so
where
I
they're
would,
going.
I would just, Bada would just
I
exclaim.
said that they would be back. I
If-
said it bought us a little time at most.
if what they want is in the village, then they have no interest in anything precious here. We can definitely come back if needed. We need that download complete.
I could try to transfer over the power to the turrets and shoot them down from the sky. However, it is maybe work, maybe hit, maybe kill, lots of maybes. I think it is better idea to get information, run away, and perhaps return in the future. This is not going to be the last time that I come to my home world.
This will be the last time you come.
Did you roll discipline as Krasa?
Oh, shit. I super modified Krasa accidentally. Whoops. I thought that was
I
my
was just thinking to myself,
all
like,
of the
damn, Krasa's got better
disciplines.
discipline than I do.
Sorry.
You didn't
fixed
touch
it.
any of my attributes, which is okay, so.
Yeah. No, well, I did. I just fixed it.
No, I'll put it back. There we go.
Yeah, there you go.
Ah,
That's what it was. Yeah, it was
yeah.
still no. Not quite. So eventually, I assume you guys spent some time talking, and you can hear the ship in the distance, engines roar to life, and you actually just hear it faint into nothingness. And just
No,
as the
as soon as he said that they were going to be gone, I would start working on one of the turrets.
Sure, you would need him to stop powering the download and transfer the power to the turrets instead.
No. Oh, no.
Dismantle it.
I would dismantling it to
start
take
working
it
on
with us.
dismantling it.
I
Okay, that
know
takes
it's going to
time.
take days.
Yeah.
For both. I immediately
fine.
start working on one. If we can, I'm leaving one completely alone because I already told Krasa.
Sure. Make me.
Let's
I mean,
power
it's
one.
gonna be multiple mechanics checks, but make me a mechanics
That's-
check against 3 purple.
What would Krasa be doing? Because I would tell him the importance.
Cross.
We're waiting for the download.
Yeah. Well, what I was saying.
I didn't
what I
mean
was,
to cut off what you were saying. I apologize, by the way.
The thing I was saying was that once those ship engines dissipate into the distance and you hear it all go silent, that's when the download finishes.
Okay, so yeah, I would. Okay.
I look up at them as I hold the thing and say, "Boys, it is time to eat."
Oh my god.
Doesn't
Knowing that is done, then I probably wouldn't work on the. Would I be able to inspect on like how long it would take to dismantle both guns?
That would be a mechanics check
Okay. yeah, I'll do
against
that.
just to do a time, like just to get an estimate.
Yeah.
2 purple for both guns.
Do I get a blue dice, or is that only in combat?
Only in combat. That was your warfare check. However, Wade decided to force lie, basically.
That's totally fine. Mechanics?
Yeah.
I
Damn.
forced
You
lied,
you
so-
think it'll take you around 2 weeks to get them done?
Okay.
Both of them. You can get both of them dismantled in about 2 weeks with that roll.
How long was the trip from the village to here? I mean, I'm assuming
Few
not long
hours.
at all.
Couple hours.
And that's an hour ship.
That was in your ship. Yeah, you're
Not
rough
very,
bucket of a
very
ship.
nice.
Yeah.
And at a high
sleek
altitude, so it was like short run.
Crosser, we don't have much time. It may not even take the full amount of time for them to get there before they realize something. I couldn't tell if that was the same one, like the person with the lightsaber in space, right? But
Could
I
not
can
tell. Mm-mm.
I think perhaps it is time that we leave, and if these peoples are looking for this thing that you have, perhaps we take job in Nar Shaddaa and see who it is that hired us originally, and if they are connected with this person that is hunting us down. It is time to not get chased, but perhaps chase answers.
I agree.
Unfortunately, we won't have time to explore this facility for more answers for you, or
We
to-
have the logs of when we can come back.
I'm sure there are many answers that can be had here, including names of whole clans that were exterminated. We can use this information for much good. Tribes. I keep saying clans, but it's tribes. You're a clan, I'm tribe.
I knew what you were saying, though. You talked about the Cathar.
Yeah.
Everything is clouded for me. If you guys think it's best to leave now, we should leave now.
I say leave now, come back. The rust on
I'm-
these guns.
I'm like
will take-
walking past you guys already.
No, I'd be walking out.
Yeah.
I'd be kind of pointing at them. The rust on the guns. Oh no, I'm not a good mechanic. Maybe Crosser can tell us when we get back, but might be longer than we thought. Not a couple of days.
Perhaps I'll pick up a beginner's manual, huh?
Yeah.
It's only about
Chuckle
an
on our
hour.
way out.
It's only about an hour walk from the building to your ship, and you do not see any signs of the ship returning at any point. And when you arrive, and it's quite simply a pilot planetary. Are you just immediately leaving the planet? Is the plan to just get up and out?
Yeah.
Okay, piloting planetary.
Because we didn't tell her we were coming back today. We told her I'd be coming back in the future. And now she did. Thanks, Wade. Thanks,
Not
Wade.
necessarily. They didn't open up guns blazing here.
Thanks,
And
Wade.
honestly, I expect that she's maybe. I just destroyed Scott's entire character arc forever.
Oh, there's more than one leader.
Yeah, there's more. There's lots of
Yeah, then why
elders,
are you
lots
so
of
sad?
villages.
Maybe I'll meet a hot one.
Imagine if you left the
She was my
dagger there,
type.
though. Imagine if
God.
the dagger got left there. You'd have handed that over, and then you just see like smoke billowing from the forest as you fly away.
Wade, you have to know I always date down. I always date down. Come on.
Even dating down is up for you.
It's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Are you willing to help me pilot out of this?
Yeah, I
Scott.
can. Or
Or Scott
can.
or Varen? Either or.
Help you what? I'm sorry?
Piloting.
Piloting planetary.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Has you been my co-pilot this entire time?
Yep, it's kind of funny that I have to. Co-pilot. I'm going to just regular co-pilot check. Piloting planetary.
Is this not just giving blues? We decide we're not doing that. We're doing the assist thing.
No, what this check is, this doesn't even give him blue. All this check does is just removes his Oh, I didn't roll correctly. Removes the
What was
difficulty.
the difficulty?
2 for me.
Correct.
For you, he has to tell you.
1 for
Oh,
you.
I actually you
0 for you.
-3 for you.
Yeah, so just roll against no purple.
Yep.
The engines roar to life and elegantly and simply. Yes.
With
What?
those advantage, can I take 1 off strain and 1 to the next roll? Well, it won't matter. Never mind.
Correct. But yes, you can always take off strain.
I'll take a strain.
And piercing through the atmosphere, giving way to the star-dotted sky above. Astrogation to Nar Shaddaa is where you're looking for, so we need an It's always against 1 purple. It's main highways, even in the outer. Actually, no, it's gonna be 2 purple because it's outer rim to outer rim and other side of the galaxy.
I suffer strain to upgrade. I'm gonna spend a light side
Other
point.
side of the galaxy.
Okay.
How many years is this gonna take?
I spend the light
always-
side point because I screwed this up last time.
I
And
really want to use a dark side point, but you already
Before
used a
you
light side
roll,
point, so.
before you roll, Bato knowing what you're about to do is just don't mess this one up. Pat's on back.
Let the force guide you.
I cut time off the trip. I cut time off the trip, bad boys.
Great. Now it's only 2 years.
I'm glad you didn't overshoot us again.
Well, as always, you hear the engines roar to life. and Cathar becomes a speck behind you as you disappear into hyperspace, heading toward Nar Shaddaa. Well,
What's our estimated time?
You shave some
Oh,
time off.
Mike, remember.
It's a lot.
Whatever it is multiplied by 6 because of our.
Plus you shorten it with your advantage.
Correct.
Remember, it's going to be normally like a week. You're looking at like 3 weeks to a month in space instead of 2 months.
How many days of supplies did she give us?
About a week's worth.
Okay, and assuming we have full supplies, that means we're gonna get there with maybe no supplies.
Yeah, you might be not any when you're there.
Question, because I don't know if it matters. I did say a blue dice on the next person who rolls. Would that have done anything if you rolled like another advantage?
Technically, he should have rolled with a blue die. Technically.
Scott.
What?
He gave you an advantage at blue die from his last roll.
Oh, hold on.
He's bringing it up, so
I did say that, and
even better. Instead, now it's definitely only 3 weeks, and you will have a few supplies left when you land.
it
That's
mattered.
what it boils down to. You got some food.
Very cool.
Well, I expected that last encounter to do something wildly different, but Wade rolled incredibly well and made a trade-off. One that is debatably a dark side trade, knowing full well the consequences of redirecting him in that general direction.
And he did tell us that he sent them that way, right?
He did say that. He did tell you.
Okay.
So we're going to actually end the episode here as we finally get to Nar Shaddaa.
Oh, no
3
time
episodes
for,
later
RP?
than I expected you to get there. All
No
while
time
being
for
chased.
the role play, huh? Okay.
Roleplay what?
Conversation.
Yeah, we have 3 weeks of travel. So you be
We have
quiet.
3 weeks.
I'm gonna mute Mike right there. There we go. Okay. It's 3 weeks. Wade, would you like to go to a 15-minute monologue about your emotions? We're all listening.
Why do I exist? What is existence?
No, I don't want to go on a monologue.
No, but I know the 3 of you wanted to chat, so please, if there's opportunity to talk.
I wanted to bring up the fact they kept finding us. So I would have probably brought it up to Krasa if he would be able to inspect the ship and see how they were tracking us. Knowing he's really good with computers and stuff like that. If he can look into it over the next month of our travel, obviously.
He could check for bugs or tracking devices, but
Part of it is also I'll repeat what I said beforehand when you say like, how is it they be tracking us? Like,
transponder codes.
It is very unlikely that we had bugs on us before us collecting the ship. But if this is the same person that encountered us before, perhaps they put something on the ship as they attacked it. However, our transponder codes are very old and probably ping on the registry when we enter certain ports. The idea that the Cathar would have such a ping is unusual. Perhaps it is his wizard. This word is hard to say. Wizardry. Magic.
It's possible, but am I even here for this conversation? Is this just you two?
Yeah, no, I imagine this would be in the cockpit or even just one day amongst our travel. I would want to bring it up early in our recent.
Oh yeah, I imagine like as we're going. It's possible that I believe she is using the Force to track us, but over such a distance would be difficult. It's more likely that there is a tracking device of some kind, though I do believe that the transponder codes should be changed as soon as possible. It won't be long before they find us again.
We can't just keep running.
I feel as though he'll pull out the holocron. I feel as though I can't let this fall into anyone else's hands.
We have a couple of weeks.
Krasa, though I shouldn't be, but I am. Why shouldn't I?
You have time. Focus. Go to your prayer. See what you can unlock about it. I know that's what you've been looking into. I imagine that's what your outburst was a couple of weeks ago.
I should admire the Mandalorians who mowed down Cross's people, and yet I don't.
Jesus Christ.
He'll just say that blatantly. I Revan was a
spent-
conqueror, and Revan did not flinch when it came to making any sacrifice, and I don't understand why I do. I should not regret the decision I made, and yet I feel as though it maybe was the wrong one, and I don't know why. I am sorry, Krasa. I don't know why I'm sorry, but I do feel it.
I hope that village that you sent that woman to, I hope that they are all right. They are good people. They are innocent people trying to rebuild after other worlds had their interference. And the idea that I went there and was giving high honor only to repay them with saying, "This is my friend." They show up mentioning your name and bring ruin to them, that links back to me. That is not good.
I understand.
Never mind what it would do to those people.
Again, I felt I had to protect this. Why? I can't answer any of the whys that I have, and it's infuriating to me. But I can't even rely on fury like I used.
This
He'll just turn and start walking away unless you guys
I'll say something as you like turn. I'll be like, this path that you walk, I've talked to you about it twice now. Listen, I think you are just ignorant. This word sounds aggressive. You do not know where it is that you are going. Perhaps not even where it is that you came from. But there is much information that can be had. Perhaps you do not give two shits about what it is that Mando over here and I found inside that building. But in this vessel, I did unlock 10 of the previously mentioned files. Would you like to go over them first?
I would, but I need
Take
to
time.
center myself.
I gather, I hunt, I've killed. I can see the strain on you. I can see it on your soul.
I only have one right now. I got to remove some after resting.
Woo! Thanks for watching, everybody.
Go ahead.
Take the time, rest, go to your prayers. As I go to mine, as Krasa does his. Reflect, take days. We have it. We have time.
I will.
After that, he would walk back to the cockpit or wherever.
The bridge, yeah.
Yeah, the bridge, and it would just continue.
I will rewire the what is that room called? The conference room. I will rewrite these words, and I will make it so that the terminals and their function. You can use that room for your meditation and for going over files and the like.
I appreciate that. I hope I start finding some answers soon. I don't know that I can until I walk another's path, and yet I don't know the truth of that path. I don't know what I know is real, and yet I feel all of this conflict, but not in. I just need time.
Take your time. Like I said, I will rewire them terminals in there so that they function, and you'll be able to use the space.
we will see Varen walk away on that, thoughts to himself, confused and feeling like he's being pulled in many a different direction, yet no answer lies openly before him. Weeks of travel lay before our party, and we'll return in a few weeks to see how they fare afterward.
You know, in every Star Wars video game, when you have a ship, the crew always like claims like a room, and that's when you like go to interact.
Yeah.
I imagine he's got the office, right? I have like the engine room, right? Because that's where like the electronics and mechanics are.
Okay, easy there, Garrus.
Yeah, and then Pat over here, he has what? The latrine, like.
The cockpit. I'm always in the cockpit.
He's always in the bridge, yeah.
I'm always
He's
the
in the
bridge.
Despite the fact he'd be the best gunner, somehow he's turned into our pilot.
Well,
I'm very good at gunnery as well.
that's true. Wade.
Varen, hold the steering wheel. Just go. Literally all you need to do.
Well, I hope everybody enjoyed. We're about to go head off and record the after show for this week. If you're a patron, it's the $2 tier and above. You get an after show to go watch. We talk about the episode, what our thoughts are, plans for the future, etc. Last week's episode was extra long, so if you jump at the $2 tier now, you'll get all the past episodes you can watch. We're gonna go do that. We'll go around the room. People will tell you where you can find them, and we will start with the man who threw all my plans in the garbage, Wade.
Hey, I don't know what his plans were, but I'll talk about it in the after show about what I was thinking. How's that? So make sure you guys go to watch that. I'm Wade, Lord Minion 777 on YouTube, Minion 777 on Twitch. I do gaming, and I do a podcast. Well, I used to do a podcast on Tuesdays with Mark and Bob. It's kind of turned into a GTFO stream every week with Mark and Bob and Sean and whoever else. Other than that, for once, I don't think there's anything crazy going on for a little bit. So
we're in the
you can
quiet
find me there,
time.
and my wife's Foxtrot 44, and I always promote her over myself. So go watch her streams, and I don't know. I'm gonna go get some chocolate after this. So that's me.
Hell yeah! Thanks,
Got this
Wade.
cool get up.
It is a cool get up. You got to show it off every time. While you're showing it off, Pat, our local
Make sure you
Mandalorian.
guys get in the after show. Wade always takes off a little bit
He
of his
always does
armor.
strip in the after show. That's for that extra
it's a
$2
different-
are up.
I got
It's
a
a
crotch
different-
cloth.
He does a
You think OnlyFans is a good service? This Patreon a little better.
Woo!
Then you got Scott.
Yeah, well.
I'm
can't get
Patrick.
Not everything can be a perfect deal, dude.
I unlike Wade have a full squad of people to play GTFO with, so I've been soloing a lot of the game. I've soloed the first 2 levels, which makes me that is horrifying. Soloed the first 2 levels, but Temtem just came out, so I'll probably be playing a bunch of that. Monster Hunters, I've been grinding a bunch of that. I'm behind on a lot of games. There's so many games coming out, and
Now's
now
the time.
Animal Crossing's coming out in like 2 months.
So
Like
excited.
Everything else was delayed.
I know.
last week, we
Thank
talked
God.
about how excited we were. Like, oh, Cyberpunk coming. We're like, thank God it got.
One despair there, Scott. Nice.
Yeah.
I was so hoping for a despair. Yeah, man. This, now's your time to catch up on games for sure.
I'm trying to balance The Witcher, and because I still haven't played all of Witcher 3, and there's Temtem, and then there's
Everything. Just
so many
everything.
games, so many fun things.
Thank
Did
God
you ever-
things got delayed.
Did you ever play Witcher 1? Because it's the only one that's
Yeah.
crossed over with the TV show so far. Like with like details, because 2 and 3 are like so far in the future.
Yeah.
Right. I've been trying to read up on the books, actually. My
Witcher 1 is
girlfriend
a-
has all 3 of the, I think 3 of the books.
Witcher 1 is a janky mess. It's old.
Again, I would totally play it, but I just watched somebody play Let's Play like forever ago. It's such a cool game. Anyways,
Well, that leaves us with Scott, the Cathar whose people are about to be murdered again.
listen, if you want to go $2 tier on Patreon so you can watch the VODs, cool, good for you. Enjoy the show. Wade gets naked. It's a crazy mess. Anyways, but if you want to make a character, I suggest you make a droid that happens to have a couple of spare chip weapons on his back as he joins the party and repairs the
You'll be
ship
meeting-
for us.
You'll be meeting Naga's NPC next
Oh,
week.
fuck.
Actually.
Oh, no.
Great.
Oh,
This is
no.
not the planet for the character to be on.
Oh, no.
Yay.
Listen, I wanted tonight to go somewhat differently there, but what I'm supposed to do is hand over the holocron, man.
This is the first
No,
episode I haven't made any
we'll
money.
talk about this in the after show.
Okay.
I just expected some conversation.
If you want to see what kind of effect Naga has on campaigns, over at twitch.tv/Daleric or catching the VODs afterwards on youtube.com/Daleric, I run a couple of campaigns in my own homebrewed world called Aurorum. They impact each other, as well as a Patreon campaign that impacts that as well. And the viewers get to actively impact the show, doing daddy drops and stuff like that. And Naga is renowned for setting everything on fire. So I would be very disappointed if Naga's character does not have a wrist-mounted flamethrower. I'll be so disappointed. I will call shenanigans and say it's not Naga's character and punch it in the face.
Works for me. Well, that's it for us. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll be back next Wednesday, same bat time, same bat channel, for some more Star Wars. If you enjoyed it, or you only caught a bit of it, or you just got into the end, you want to watch it right away, if you subscribe to the channel, VODs are available immediately. If not, they're available for free 24 to 48 hours later at the YouTube channel by the same name, Lost Initiative Show. You can check it out. And as always, to go above and beyond the support, you can check out the Patreon and get some behind-the-scenes goodies. We're going to go record the after show. Thank you all so much for watching. Goodbye, everybody.
Toodles.
Dulces.
So were we meant to?
I'm just looking for somebody to raid really quickly. If you guys want to hold on 1 second, I'll find somebody to raid. Hey everybody, we're going to go and host somebody else playing a little bit of D&D, so if you raid them, so come on, join for the raid. Yay!